gonna do this.
How do you follow up one of the best slopestyle seasons ever? You bring back an absolutely classic course and let the professionals take care of the rest. The pilgrimage to the Southern Hemisphere is on for the first stop of the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship. And the 14 best slopestyle competitors on the planet are here in Rotorua. Eric Fedko, the German technical terminator, is back. 2019 breakout star David Godziek, present. The first ever Triple Crown of slopestyle winner Nikolai Rogatkin, in the house. 2019 Red Bull Joyride champ Emil Johansen, here and healthy. Plus 11 more go-to guys that love doing things that seem impossible. The Maxxis Slopestyle in Memory of McGazza, coming to you live from the most fun you can have at a mountain bike festival in the Southern Hemisphere, Crankworx Rotorua. Kelly would be so stoked. Yes, 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 yes. Slopestyle fans of the world, the wait is over. It's a long 7 months between August and March. And if you've just been thirsty for slopestyle action, well, we're about ready to let you sip from our goblet here. The Maxxis Slopestyle in Memory of McGazza. This has been tradition for the past 6 years now. This is the way we kick off the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship Series on an absolutely legendary course designed and built by the legend himself, McGazza, who left us a few years ago. And in honor of our dear good friend, this is another part of the tradition, is we have the McGazza train. We get all the friends, slopestyle competitors, and Kelly's friends from all over the world to just jump on that slopestyle course, go one after another, and just enjoy the ride in memory of our friend. And what better way to kick off the season? I'm your host, Cam McCall, alongside my brother, Tyler McCall, who, of course, you missed him in Speed and Style because he's nursing an injury, but you would not miss slopestyle, right? You come all the way down here for this.
I came here just to watch this show. This is the most exciting event to me because it's been so long since the last one, Red Bull Joyride. We don't know what these guys have been working on, but we know they've been practicing. They know this course. They've ridden it before, so they know what they're coming into. And here we're checking out the McGazza train, paying tribute to the guy who built this course originally, Kelly McGarry.
So here you see all the competitors getting a couple last-minute runs here, one of which is the McGazza train. It's been an interesting week. You know, outside sports mean outside weather, and wind has been a bit of a daunting condition the last few days. So part of the story has been all week that slopestyle practice, although scheduled to be abundant, has been sparse due to those heavy winds. So the riders got out here early this morning, and they're doing the last-minute preparations to get their runs ready. One of those runs being the McGazza train that you're seeing right now. But some wild stuff going down in practice. I've already seen some moves out there that I've never seen before. Definitely not in competition, but I saw a couple things that I'm not even sure if I've ever seen done on a slopestyle mountain bike before. It's been a good show already, hasn't it, Tyler?
We're not going to ruin any surprises, but yeah, like you said, we've seen some crazy stuff just within the last hour of practice because these guys haven't had a ton of time, so the last hour was kind of crunch time, and maybe the riders that have ridden here in the past have a bit of an advantage, but even some of the rookies were looking really good.
So when we last left these guys back in Whistler, it was a ridiculous ridiculous show. Of course, Emil Johansen grabbing his first gigantic slopestyle win here. He had cracked the podium on the Crankworx World Tour before this, but of course, you know the story of Emil Johansen battling back from autoimmune disease and finally summiting the massive mountain that is slopestyle competition. But that guy who's currently spraying him with champagne as we reminisce from August, he's not going to be here. He's the man who won the first two competitions of the 2019 season and was second to only Emil Johansen at the final stop. He's decided to take a step back this season, and it makes a lot of sense when you really hear his perspective. He's been focusing on this sport for the last 10 years, and to be at the top, you pretty much have to put all your other bikes away and only ride that jump bike, that very specific bike for slopestyle. It doesn't, as the sport progresses and changes, it doesn't resemble a normal trail bike as much as it once did. And to prepare and be ready, you have to constantly be on that bike only, taking crazy risks. He's decided to take a little time off to just butter up his other skill sets, hasn't he?
For a rider like Brett, who isn't just, I mean, not to say he's not dedicated to slopestyle, because he's one of the best we've ever seen, but such a well-rounded rider who is at as home on a downhill bike as he is on a slope bike, he was missing out on other stuff he wanted to go do, training for Rampage, riding downhill trails, and just having fun doing that. So now he wants to take a step back, focus on that, and continue to build his whole skill set as a mountain biker, and just have a little stressless life for a little bit, and hopefully we'll see him back.
So as he builds his skill set, obviously he already has a broad skill set. He's won Rampage before, but as that skill set is building, he puts time on that. It'll build the anticipation for when he finally returns. We're not sure when that's going to be. Hopefully maybe Joyride. We'll see. What do you think, Brett? But let's talk about who is here today. One rider that we'd be a fool not to touch on is David Godziek. Why do we need to touch on him? Well, he finished on the podium the last two events. Those last two events happened to be his first two Crankworx Slopestyle events of his career. So he's podium perfect in Crankworx Slopestyle. If you recognize that last name, it's because he's younger brother to Simon Godziek, who's been on tour year after year. He's currently working on getting back on tour. How about another familiar name, Nikolai Rogatkin? A rough season last year, but this guy has won this competition here a number of times. He's always enjoying himself at any event, but he's always going for it completely all out. So when you see the fact that he didn't crack the podium last season, it's not evidence that he wasn't trying. It's actually quite the opposite.
All he tries is to win. So he's not usually taking the approach to just get points, stay on tour. He has one goal, and that's to do the best run he's capable of. And that's why if he's not at the top, he's going to be far down. But we know he's been practicing. He wasn't happy with last season, so really curious to see what he's going to do today.
Look for Nikolai Rogatkin to absolutely send it, because that's what he does. But he's also down for anything, even if you ask him to strap a GoPro to his head and give us a tour of the course. So let's check out the GoPro course preview with Eric Fedko and Nikolai Rogatkin.
What's up, everyone? Nikolai Rogatkin here with my dog, Eric Fedko. We're out here in Rotorua for the 2020 Maxxis Slopestyle in memory of Kelly McGazza. We're about to show you guys the course. It's super sick. Let's do it, bro. Let's go. Drop it into this first step down. Giving her a nice flip. Coming into this big shark fin feature. Oh yeah. Coming into the big step up trick jump. Oh. Eric cruising into this dirt to dirt hip. Giving her some steez. Now into this new on off techie feature. We're just gonna go on. Do a cheeky little spin off. Now into the whale tail. Getting into the serious section down here. Hitting the long and low into the last jump. See what Eric's got? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There it is. Your 2020 Rotorua course. That felt epic, bro.
So a lot of familiar faces out there. Nikolai Rogatkin is back. We had an up close and personal view of his face there in that GoPro course preview. Those seem to just keep on getting better and better. But we got a big field, 13 of the world's best slopestyle competitors. It's so hard to get here, but one unfamiliar face, a rider that we're really excited to see get the invite to the first event of the 2020 season, Owen Marks. Let's throw a headset on him and catch up.
So Owen, this is your first time riding a Crankworx Slopestyle event. You've been working super hard coming from Aptos, California, where we used to have a ton of spots to ride. Now they're few and far between. You spend a lot of time riding at Brandon Semenuk's house. How have you been preparing for this event in particular?
Honestly, we've just kind of been doing the same thing, especially Brandon comes to town, and me and him and Ray George keep like a tight kind of training regimen going, like twice a day, almost every day of the winter. And yeah, kind of doing the same thing we always do, just trying to add a few new tricks.
It's so exciting to have a rider from our local scene making it onto the big stage right now. It's been a long time since we've seen new talent coming from North America. Question, Brandon's kind of taken you under his wing, and that helps with your riding, but has he given you any insight into how to handle the mental pressure? This is your biggest competition moment to date.
Yeah, he definitely helps me a ton with like everything, but mainly he like told me to have a plan going into this and just really like think about my run and like map it all out, start to finish, and then I just have like the whole idea in my head going into the run.
So Brandon's ridden this course before, and as we said, you spent a lot of time riding with him. Did you guys talk about certain features on this course? Because it is kind of a disadvantage that you've never ridden it, but you do know what features are there, and I'm wondering if you guys kind of talked through your dream run before you even got here.
A little bit, but yeah, our main jump at home is kind of similar to this last jump, but everything else is a bit different, so I didn't have like too much to base it off of. And then obviously the boner log being taken out was kind of like a huge, just, I don't know, no one really knew that was going to happen, so we're all starting from scratch on that.
Well, you're the pride of Aptos, California right now. You're holding it down, and it's great to see you in this event, and we can't wait to see what you do.
Sweet, thanks.
Get it.
Yeah, we'll be rooting for Owen out there. It's great. I mean, something that's been happening the past few years in this sport that used to be kind of dominated by athletes from Canada and America, the Europeans have just been absolutely taking over, especially with, you know, Brandon Semenuk now taking you know, his focus elsewhere, not competing in slopestyle. Now Brett Rheeder doing the same thing, and it's left the door open for those riders that kind of learned from what they built, what they turned the sport into. One in particular, Emil Johansen, who won Joyride last year. Can you believe the story of this guy? I mean, he had to battle an autoimmune disease, and 2019 was a wild year for him with ups and downs. You remember he had a crash here last year, wasn't able to compete in the final, but he just battles through all of it and sets his sights on the main goal, which is to be on the top step of that podium, and it actually worked out at Joyride, and he's coming into this competition feeling healthier than ever. Luckily, there's been a documentary series about his journey, so for more on that, check out part 2 of Every Mystery I've Lived.
It was like, sweet, I've done the competition, I'm back, you know? But then life kicks you in the butt again and says, not yet.
Having the Epstein Barr as well as the Hashimoto, that's two things we all didn't know about.
Every stress situation, from inside or outside, is triggering this virus.
Emil Johansen trying so hard to get back on tour.
The more the time goes, the more you understand that I gotta have to live with this virus.
It's a question of time when the symptoms coming back.
It would be cool if like one day I was in Joyride, like that would be blast.
I don't know about you, but I just can't wait to see where his career goes from here. If you imagine how he was riding when he was still dealing with those health issues, and then to see where he left off in the 2019 season on the top step of the podium, the stuff that he was doing in practice, I was mentioning at the top of the show, I saw some stuff that blew my mind. He may have been involved in some of that stuff.
We're not going to say what, but you just gave away some of the who. But yeah, the stuff that he was doing last year was very high caliber, and that was with him taking time off. So now he's got his stuff figured out how to keep his disease under control. He's riding healthy. He's able to practice. So now we're going to get to see the true Emil and everything that he's capable of.
Well, we're getting closer to competition here. Thanks to all the diehard slopestyle fans for tuning in. But for those of you who are maybe joining us for their first slopestyle competition, Tyler, explain how the format works.
All right, so the first event of the Crankworx World Tour takes here, obviously, in New Zealand. Competition format. These guys get 2 runs. It's a best of format, so only 1 run counts, so they do have a throwaway.
And basically, right underneath us where we sit on this tower overlooking the final jump, there's 4 judges who are keeping their eyes peeled for all the subtle nuances of these runs. They're looked over by 1 head judge, and they are the decision makers. Last year, they awarded Brett Rheeder the overall. He took the title, but if you want to take even more money, $25,000 extra goes to an athlete who can win all 3 events. That means there's no throwaway events because this year we have 3 stops. We used to have 4, but right now there's no room for anybody to take a silver, take a bronze if you want to take that triple crown. Last year, Brett was so ridiculously close. I mean, first at the first 2 events, second only to Emil Johansen at the 3rd event. So we'll find out right now who's going to be the only rider after today to have an opportunity to win that triple crown in the 2020 season.
It's going to be exciting. We've had the battle between Brett and Nikolai, but now that there's only 3 Crankworx events, whoever wins this is the only person that's capable of doing that.
We're going to find out a lot today, just a couple hours until we'll know slopestyle history. This can't get any better. This is the Maxxis Slopestyle in memory of McGazza, and it starts right now.
A lot of it just comes down to like nerves and who can get out of the gate and make it happen.
Some guys are just impossible to beat nowadays.
I really wanted to show everyone what type of rider I was.
I could hear the crowd just lift.
This is like a feeling that I've never really felt in bike racing before.
Oh no!
This year, when we're talking about giving the king of Crankworx a nudge, goal would definitely be a win.
Yep, the wait is over. The time has come. The 2020 Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship Series starts right now with the Maxxis Slopestyle in memory of McGazza. It's become a tradition to start the slopestyle season here, and the locals wouldn't miss it. We wouldn't miss it, and we thank you for tuning in because we know you wouldn't want to miss it. Big names, 13 of the best. They're all hanging out at the top of the course right now. Let's take a look at who those riders are. We're gonna kick things off with Owen Marks and then Tim Bringer. He was the 2019 season Rookie of the Year. That's how he won his spot here. Thomas Genon back after that crazy shoulder dislocation, an entire year spent last year recovering from that. Lucas Huppert, Anthony Messere, the list goes on. And the last 3 we will see are Eric Fedko, Emil Johansen, and Thomas Lemoine, leading that 52-week seeding list in the FMBA World Tour. That's why he will be the last there. He got 2nd place here last year, and in practice, he's bringing some really unique stuff.
And he won speed and style last night. We can't forget that. So he's had a busy week already, but obviously we know he does well on this course. His best Crankworx finish was here last year, so excited to see what he's going to do.
I'm excited that we're starting out with Owen Marks. I mean, we grew up in the same town as that kid, and I remember seeing him show up at the jumps, just a tiny little Grom, just learning how to catch air, and to watch, probably like 12 years of progression leading to this moment. And it's cutthroat out there. This is a dog-eat-dog series. Having an opportunity like this to earn some points can make or break your career. If he finishes high enough, he'll be able to get an invitation to the 2nd stop of the World Tour in Innsbruck, Austria. We're moments away from giving him his Crankworx Slopestyle debut. And our fingers are crossed.
It's been a long time coming for Owen Marks. We've seen him since he was a little kid. We know he had the potential, and it's been a steady climb of progression until we find him here in the start gate of this Crankworx Slopestyle contest.
Looks like we're there. We got live picture on screen right now of Owen Marks preparing to drop in and kick this competition off. Right, you hear the starter there say ready when you are. So right now he's kind of just gauging the wind, making sure it's calm enough right now. It's a big important moment, so you want to You have to wait 1 extra second for the wind to come. It's worth it. Here we go, Tyler.
And here he comes off that start step down with a backflip double bar spin. Man, big move for the rookie here. Nice flat spin on that shark fin there. Might have missed his combo there, but he's started this run off really good. So he's going to keep it through with that 360 tail up right there on the hip. Bar spin up on the new feature. That's what we're calling the street box. Riders didn't know that was going to be there, so it's a new feature this year. Opposite 360 up for him, regular 360 down. Bar spin on the long and low, coming into the last jump.
Get it.
A cork 720, landing perfect. We saw him go down on that in the last little bit of practice, so that's great to see him get back up and stomp that one.
I mean, that's exactly how you want your rookie debut to go. A top to bottom run with a little bit to improve in your second run. But like you say, we saw him crash on that cork 7 in practice, so he stomped it under pressure. Here we go. Look back, Tyler.
That right there, that first move was a standout to me. A lot of these riders have ridden this course before, so they know how much airtime there is. They know how all the lips feel. This is his first time riding here, and like we said, the riders haven't had a ton of practice. So Owen just kind of putting it all together right now, figuring things out, and that one, that's the first time he's landed that one today, I believe. He went down really hard in practice.
So we're going to get a gauge right now on how the judges are scoring based on how they assign a number to this run right here. The score coming in, it looks like a 61.25 for Owen Marks' first run, and he knows that he has what it takes to perform under pressure after that performance, but he also knows that there's a couple opportunities to improve in that second run. We can't wait to see that, but let's move things right along here to the 2019 season Rookie of the Year. Now, there are feeder events on the FMB World Tour that you can earn points to earn a spot into the big show. Also, they take a look at all of your video parts you're posting online, and each year they award a Rookie of the Year. We're watching some highlights. He's been traveling around to different competitions, different riding spots, and some of the highlights this guy is capable of are ridiculous. We can't wait to see him apply these tricks to a Crankworx Slopestyle. Of course, backflip double whips to bar. The list goes on and on. He's an absolute linebacker, isn't he?
He's a big dude, and he comes from BMX, so it's good to see him on a mountain bike, and he looks right at home on it. He's got some crazy tricks, so I think he could also shake some things up in this field today.
Here we go, Tim Bringer on course.
360 double bar spin off the start feature coming into the shark fin. Nice big backflip there. You can't tell from the camera angles, but that's actually a hip jump into a double flip on that step up right there. Double tail up on the hip. So far, everything looks like it's going great for Tim.
Nice.
Opposite tail up onto the box and a bar spin down. Bar spin, a tuck no hander up. Tuck no hander down. Huge backflip on that long and low right there. One more jump. Doing a perfectly executed cash roll.
Oh, see? Nikolai Rogatkin giving him cred up there. That is exactly how we want to start out a slopestyle competition to kick off the 2020 season. If these two first runs are any indication, this is going to be one for the history books. A look back at this run from Tim Bringer.
I got to imagine that was the run he was looking for. I couldn't find any mistakes in there. Everything looked flawless to me. Landing exactly where he wanted to, not taking pedals between the features, having some unique tricks on the hips.
All right, Tyler, so some huge bangers in this run and really no glaring mistakes. How do you think the judges are going to rank this compared to the first run we saw from Owen Marks?
Well, I mean, I'm happy I'm not sitting in the judges' shoes because that looked like it was a really good run to me, and we have so many more runs to come. So yeah, we'll see where they rank him.
Consider elements like that double backflip in the middle, cash roll to finish things off. This has got to be a big score here. I believe it was a 61.25 that we saw from Owen Marks. We're going to see where Timothy stacks up. There we go, 75.75, moving the 2019 Rookie of the Year, Tim Bringer, into the hot seat here in the Maxxis Slopestyle in memory of McGazza.
Oh.
So from two rookies kicking off this event to a certified veteran in the form of Thomas Genon, who has clawed his way back to competition here. If you remember, he burst onto the scene in 2012, winning Red Bull Joyride, and it's been non-stop consistency for him ever since until last year. 12 months ago here in Rotorua, Thomas Genon on the first feature, 360 tuck no hander, and then look what happens. You've been wondering why you didn't see him in Innsbruck, you didn't see him in Whistler. You happen to miss this. This is why. Opposite 360 tuck no hander. The shoulder came dislocated in the air. So he had surgery, he's been rehabbing, he's back and strong. We've called him the king of consistency in the past, and now it's great to see him back here. And if anybody knows how to put it down when the pressure's on, it's this veteran here, Thomas Genon.
So excited to see him back in the start gate. He's been a staple on this World Tour, consistently finishing in almost every event that he enters. That looked like a 360 bar spin and tail whip to me, so big move for Thomas Genon on the step up right there, going into a topside double tail whip. Getting creative with a nollie 360 up, fast plant opposite 360 down. Having to grab some pedals there. Tail whip up. Oh, Thomas Genon classic 360 table right there. That's my favorite thing that he does. And that right there, a 360 on the long low, not an easy move. Oh, a huge cash roll. I'm so excited to see him get another run.
Somebody is back. His name is Thomas Genon, and we are happy to have him. What a run. That is classic Genon. He's stronger than ever.
He's had a whole year to think about that right there, and you know it's been haunting him. He takes this stuff very seriously.
So switching up the trick here from last year, that's good to see.
A unique trick too. 360 1-footed can X up. Big move right out of the gate.
You know, talk about what it's like coming back from injury. You have this opportunity. The mental games can mess with your head, but all the experience this man has, you know, it's just like riding a bike. He didn't lose an ounce of it.
He seems to like this new feature here, switching things up with a nollie 360 up, fast plant opposite 360 down. Judges are going to like that. And that right there is my favorite thing that we see out of this guy. So much style in everything that he does.
But he's definitely battled with cash rolls in the past. It's great to see him going all out and dropping that one on the McGazza money booter.
He has such a different looking cash roll too. I don't know what it is about it, but I always love watching him pull that trick out of his bag.
It's style. I think that's what it is about it.
True.
So Thomas Genon, smooth, classic trademark run from this legend here. What's the score going to be? 81.5. He moves into the lead. See, the judges rewarding the style, the nuance, the variety of Thomas Genon. He will be the man to beat right now. Let's take a look at who we have next. This is going to be Lukas Huppert, a young rider who puts a lot on his plate. We talk about how hard it is to get onto the invite list here, but he's also balancing so many other things in his life as well.
Only 19 years old. He's full-time in university for the last 4 years, working an apprenticeship 5 days a week. Somehow still finds a way to train and has worked his way all the way up into this slopestyle event right there with a 360 tail whip. And he has so many tricks in his bag. We haven't seen him do a ton of contest runs yet, so we don't even know what he's going to pull out. Big backflip tail whip on the step up there. Port 720 on the hip.
Perfect.
Truck driver up. Bar spin down. Things are looking great for Hoopy right now. 360 down whip up on the box. That was a big move. 360 down. Bar spin on the long and low. And what will he pick for this last jump?
Yeah!
Wow.
Man!
Oh.
Come on, Lukas Huppert. You watched him last season. He was so strong, and it's easy to forget how young he is. He's only 19 years old right now. And what we're seeing is that he was still learning last year. Even though he was getting legit results, earning him a spot in the 2020 Tour, he's getting even better. I don't think we've seen the full potential of Lukas Huppert yet, not even close.
You heard him there after he lands his run say, not bad, I guess.
Oh, gosh. If that's not bad, well, look out for run number 2. Putting the exclamation point on this run here with the cash roll. We're seeing a lot of riders choose the cash roll on this last jump. We saw some in practice. Oh, is that Lukas's bike? So the tire just barely holding on. You see that some sort of fancy orange tube here. You, Tyler, said you heard about some special tubes some of these riders are running.
I don't know much about them, but I know they're super expensive and weigh basically nothing. So anytime these guys blow a tube, it takes a little hit to their bank account. But that's what these dudes are willing to do, to sacrifice for getting some weight shaved off their bikes to make these rotations a little bit easier.
So good thing that thing held on. It didn't pop off until the last jump there. Lukas Huppert, what's the score going to be? Top score right now belongs to Tommy G. Lukas Huppert. I mean, a big podium performance out here to start off the season would mean a lot for his career. Of course, each rider getting 2 runs. So they take a look at their score from run number 1, and then they strategize. They try to come up with ways to beat it. And they also take a look at what everybody else is doing that inspires them. There we go, 78.5 for Huppert. He moves into 2nd position. So we've been watching this course for the last 6 years. We talk about how big some of these jumps are, but you don't really get a feeling for it until you walk around and you see it with your own 2 eyes. For those of you joining us on Red Bull TV from your couch, you're not here. You can't see it with your own 2 eyes, so we're gonna help you out a little bit. We measured them. So take a look. This jump right here, the one we're calling the shark fin, 12 meters long, 40 feet long. So we're gonna give that measurement to you in metric and imperial. But let's have a little fun with this. Let's take a look at the next feature, the step up. And let's use a unit of measurement that I kind of prefer, and that is Anthony Messere's. So this jump is 7 meters tall, 23 feet long here. And that's also known as 3 Anthony Messere's or 1 Tim Bringer.
So this is Anthony Messere's 10th season on this World Tour, which is insane. He's been so consistent for so long, always able to stay on tour. One of our favorite people to watch, has such good style and just goes so high on everything that he does.
So Anthony Messere launched his career in 2011 with a huge performance at Joyride. He has won a Crankworx Slopestyle before, and this is his 10th season on tour.
Starting things off with a backflip bar spin. He was looking pretty relaxed in the gate, so he's looking really confident in this run so far. Backflip 1 foot can on that shark fin feature. Front flip, I think he might have gotten his hands off on that as well. Front flip, tuck no hander on the step up, flat spin on the hip.
Oh!
Jumping the whole street box there.
Yes!
Oh man, I like that. He calls that the Timo Pritzel. Tail whip on the big
come
drop.
on, Anthony, hold on. What? No way!
Managing to get that front
pedals.
flip.
Yes, Anthony Messere stomping the flip whip on the last jump. Okay, I cannot wait until the replays. You've got to be kidding me. Okay, in practice, he crashed hard on that tail up off of the on-off box, so I was really psyched to see that he was still on the start list. But man, he almost threw it away, but never gives up, this guy. Take a look back at the run.
That's what I love about Anthony's runs, is they're so action-packed and exciting to watch. Great extension on that front flip tuck no hander right there. Let's see if we can get a replay on that street box. So most guys are on-offing it. Anthony's just like, nah, I don't like that thing. I'm just gonna jump the whole thing.
Oh, this is so exciting to see them bringing some unique features to the courses. I think it's something that's needed. Let's take a look. Tail up off. His feet were barely on. He was sitting down the landing. Somehow gains composure, front flips that long and low, links it right into this backflip tail up to finish off the run. So Anthony Messere doing it for the fans. A lot of the riders out here pulling for him. Exciting to see him still on tour after 10 years, and for good reason. He absolutely kills it. He represents a unique approach. I couldn't imagine the tour without him, and there's his girlfriend watching, obviously excited about Anthony stomping his first of 2 runs here, the first stop of the 2020 season. What will the score be for Tone?
Let's go.
That's right.
I don't know how he managed to stand up after getting so squatted down on that tail up drop and then still front flipping the longest jump on course.
Yeah, doing it right there for Jordy Lund. He's got the rough AF sticker on his top tube. Anthony Messere, strong run. Where will it put him? Yeah, the judges taking their time with this one because things that nobody else is doing, at least riders that we've seen so far, like gapping the street box. He comes from a BMX background way back when he was a kid. There we go, 71.25, good enough for 4th place right now. So I like what we're seeing right now. 5 runs, 5 stomps. Owen Marks, Anthony Messere, Tim Bringer, Lucas Huppert, and Thomas Genon starting this party strong and stomping their runs. But the man to beat, Thomas Genon, ending his run with that casserole, rewarded with an 81.5 here in run number 1 of the Maxxis Slopestyle in memory of McGazza. Rest of the riders coming up after the break. Don't go away. Welcome back, mountain bike fans. Slopestyle time here in Rotorua, New Zealand. Stop number 1 of the 2020 Crankworx World Tour. And look at where we're hanging out, Skyline Gravity Park. This place is amazing. So much riding to do here, both at Skyline and across the valley at the Whakarewarewa Forest. Take a look, on-board view right now. Keegan Wright, the Kiwi, taking advantage of some of these fun trails. I always bring my bike every time I come to Rotorua because this is what you'd be missing if you didn't. So if you're a mountain biker, you've been watching for the last 6 years and you want to make a trip out here, make sure you check out the trails out here locally in Rotorua because they're second to none. They even run shuttles. It's just too good to be true. So back to slopestyle action right here. Let's take a look at our current leader, Thomas Genon, back from injury. It's been a long road to get back after that shoulder surgery, but look at this. Redemption, 360, one-footed can X up on the first feature, that tail whip on the shark fin, and then just increasing the magnitude of tricks, 360 bar spin, a tail up, the double tail whip. And then it's all about the variety, spinning both ways, and then you gotta cap it off with a banger, right? Here's the casserole to finish things off. That's how you earn yourself an 81.5 and put your name at the start, at the top of the results list. But there's a whole lot more to come here. A tough list of competitors that Genon is gonna have to fend off if he wants to stay on top of that podium. Next of which, right here, a rider who was on the alternate list But the pre-qualified rider Torquato Testa from Italy will not be riding in the slopestyle event at Crankworx, as the New Zealand authorities have advised that he be in self-isolation. With Torquato off the start list, Jakub Vencl moves up from first alternate and into the big show. And of course, in true Jakub Vencl fashion, he's got a band shirt on. Looks like he's repping Destruction today. He was wearing Slayer in practice. There's a good chance he'll probably keep the playlist rolling and grab another band shirt for run number 2. But let's see what Jakub has and if he can capitalize on this opportunity getting off of that alternate list.
Taking his time, making sure he's ready to drop in. Once you drop in, there's no turning back. Let's see what he starts off with. A 360 tuck no-hander, making that look so easy off the start step down. Backflip tuck no-hander on the shark fin there.
Yeah, Jakub.
A huge double backflip going long on the step up.
Destruction.
Oh, over-rotating purposely on that hip right there with a big 720. Opposite 360 up, regular 360 down. Everything's looking super clean for Jakub so far here. A huge front flip right there.
Oh, does he have the speed for the McGazza money booter? He does, a cash roll to cap it off. Man, that is the trick of choice down here at the bottom of the slopestyle course. Jakub Vencl, a guy who has dominated speed and style at Crankworx events in past seasons, fought his way back onto tour. First alternate here, making it into the big show, and he always takes advantage of these opportunities when they come around to put a strong run together, try to get those valuable points and be on the rest of the tour.
He makes that 360 tuck off the start feature look so easy too, and then linking into the backflip tuck on that feature that doesn't look like it, but it is a hip, and that right there was also a hip, so he had to overspin the 720, but able to figure that one out perfectly.
Oh, I thought about something. He likes it if we call this the Misty 7, which makes a lot of sense if you pay attention to other sports like snowboarding. We call it a cash roll here because it was invented by Daniel Dares way back when on a BMX bike, and that's what he named it. Whoa, look at the reaction from his girlfriend. Hardest job in mountain biking is to be the girlfriend of one of these guys. But Jakub Vencl likes to call it the Misty 7, so we'll call it the Misty 7. Cap off that run, and the big question right now is what will the score be? We get a look there on our split screen view of the judges deliberating. Pierre Edward Ferry, Jeff Gulovich, Grant Chopper Fielder, Hank.
For you, Torquato.
There we go, that's legit. Okay, Jakub Vencl, look at this.
Wow.
85 taking over the lead. Yes, from the alternate list to the top spot here. Nice work.
That's got to feel good. Coming into this, he wasn't sure if he'd be here to ride speed and style or slope style, and then he got the word that he is in, and now he's sitting in the top spot.
All right, up in the start gate now, next rider to drop from Germany, Lukas Knopf, a rider with probably the biggest following out there on the internet.
He's got most of Germany watching him right now. So many fans. Starting things off huge with a 360 triple bar spin, a truck driver off of that start feature. Backflip bar spin there.
Might have been a double bar spin, I'm not sure, we'll have to wait for the replay.
Truck driver on the hip, coming into the new feature this year with a double bar spin up, bar spin down. Backflip on, big truck driver off. So far, that's the biggest trick we've seen on that feature. These riders are loving the front flip on that long and low, which is so insane to me.
Yeah, capping her off with a smooth backflip tail up there, Lukas Knopf. That was a strong run.
Triple truck driver to start things off. I want to count how many times his bars spun in that whole run. I wouldn't even be able to keep up.
Yeah, so that, I mean, a truck driver's big on the first feature. Double truck, you're pushing it, but a triple truck driver, the judges are going to take notice of that, and that's going to help him get closer to that top score currently held by Jakub Vencl. Let's see, count them, 1, 2, 3, you're right. Let's see how many bar spins there were on this backflip coming up after this shark fin. Here we go. Oh, backflip tuck to bar, that's what it was, okay, cool.
Okay, so he got the combo in there. That's gonna score much higher than a backflip bar spin. Such a risky move right there to spin. and throw your bars, get them all on, and pump all the speed you can for that huge front flip on the long and low.
There we go, getting both feet on the pedals at the last second there. The judges are looking for cleanliness. With everybody riding at such a high level, there's no room for any tiny mistake if you want to get a top score and threaten the lead currently being held by Jakub Vencl. So judges doing their thing as Lukas Knopf looks on. Six riders to go here in run number 1 of 2 in the Maxxis Slopestyle in memory of McGazza. And where will Knopf sit on these standings? He's going to have to beat a 78.5 to move into podium contention. Another Lukas is sitting in bronze medal territory right now, Lukas Huppert. What will the score be here for Knopf? And I hope he's not messing with me. He told me to pronounce every single one of those letters in his last name. That's a lot of consonants. I think he's messing with me, though.
He could be messing with you.
Judges taking their time with this one. There's a lot on the line here, and we always joke about it. We say we don't want to be a judge. That's why we sit up here and just talk about it. But the judges, they don't take this job lightly either. It's a very important role, a lot on the line. There we go, Lukas Knopf with a 73.25, moving into 5th position. So a strong run, a respectable score, but you know he'll be looking to improve upon that in run number 2. Back up to the start of the course. Uh-oh, things are heating up, Tyler.
We got Nikolai on the start gate. We need all attention to the top, because anytime this guy drops in, he's doing it for the crowd. He's doing the most insane tricks out there and always having so much fun. Such a ball of energy. What's he going to start out with? A cork 720, the biggest thing we've seen on that start feature so far today. Corking out that backflip on shark fin, pedaling for something huge.
Yes!
A twister, 1080 rotation on the step up. Wow, into a perfectly rotated cash roll. Tail up onto the street box, 360 down.
Without the fast plant this time too.
Suicide no-hander, unique move up right there. 360 inward X up, clicking that thing big. Tuck no-hander, and this is where Nikolai shines, the last jump.
Oh, front flip, no! Oh, jeez.
Oh, man, going for the front flip tail up. He was so close, just slightly under-rotated. Man, I thought he was going to go down hard, but...
You can tell he was fighting for speed into the McGazza money booter. Oh, that's just more of the same. It's such a shame to see here for a rider who's been consistently a gold medal threat season after season, not cracking the podium last year after similar things happening. You see a flawless run up until the last jump.
Gotta believe that run was very capable of putting him in the top spot. That move right there, 3 rotations, calls it the twister.
You know, he debuted that trick right here on the McGazza money booter. Now he's clicking it and dragging it up to the top of the course, allowing himself the opportunity to spread his wings and get something more unique down on the final feature, something you don't see very often, that front flip tail up. But I like this too, choosing some different tricks than what you normally see him do. Somehow pinching the seat with the calves there for that suicide no-hander. But here's where things went wrong. I'm glad he didn't crash harder though. He made the most out of that.
Such hard work to pull that rotation around while doing a front flip.
I thought he was gonna get pitched right there.
Gosh.
How did he hold on?
He does his push-ups. I don't know how he was able to hold on to that one.
All right, so Nikolai Rogatkin, that's frustrating, but let's throw a headset on him and catch up with what his plans are for run number 2. Hey, Nikolai.
What's up? What's up, Cam?
Man, things were looking so good in that run right there. It all came down to the last jump. Tell us what happened on that front flip tail up right there.
Yeah, honestly, that run felt perfect. Felt like I was just on it there, and came into the front flip tail up at the end. Went off the lip and knew I might be coming up a bit short. Tried to get the leg out, tried to bring it in, and almost rode it out at the end. It's literally my least favorite trick. It's the hardest trick ever to get that last bit of the rotation. So I landed it a couple years ago in Innsbruck when I won the Triple Crown. And I landed one in practice, but that one didn't go my way, so plans for run 2. same exact run and hopefully stomp that thing down bottom and do a huge celly. That would be hype.
That's what's up. I think it just came down to speed right there. You know that when you land that trick, it gets rewarded because you've used it in the past. Is that really what you're going to try to change? Is just everything the same, just get more speed into the McGazza money booter?
It's not even about the speed, it's about the force of the pop into the front flip. I just barely didn't have enough front flip there, so gonna try to send it real hard off the lip and hopefully that thing comes around for me.
Well, that run was looking typical Nikolai, super exciting, so we can't wait to see you stomp that last trick and do the classic Nikolai celebration.
Celly!
Thank you, boys. I'm going to send it.
Yeah, Nikolai, we'll be cellying with you, buddy. Go stomp that.
Going to try my best, boys.
Yes. All right, Nikolai Rogatkin. We'll get him back up to the top of the course, but we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders left here in run number 1. Next of which, a rider who made it onto the podium here in Rotorua 12 months ago from Sweden, the hard-working Alex Alanko.
Had his best result here just a year ago, and what I've noticed about this guy is he always gets better. He's always learning. Every time he comes, he has a new trick. I've seen him doing some new opposite maneuvers that he's been working on at home. Really become quite the full package in the slopestyle game here. That was an opposite 360 X up to 1 foot of can. Big move right out of the gate. Double tail whip on the start feature. We haven't seen either of those tricks yet. Looked like a backflip bar spin on the step up. Cork 720.
Oh, hitting the eject button on the Cork 7. Alex Alanko running into issues.
Not sure what happened there. Everything was looking so perfect. Alex has some of the most dialed Cork 720s in the game.
He really does, and it's crazy to see him messing up on that trick in particular because he's been posting a lot of his training footage up on his YouTube channel. He goes to a training compound that has multiple lips into a foam pit, and his warm-up is to basically Cork 7 every one of the lips. The steep ones, the flat ones, and everything in between. So an uncharacteristic error there for the hard-working Alex Alanko. Let's take a look back.
That move right there stood out to me because it's what we saw our current hot seat leader do. A 360 X up to 1 foot cam, but we saw Alex do it in his unnatural direction, which obviously the judges are going to take note of. Here's where things went wrong. I'm wondering if a foot slipped off or if he just thought he was short on rotation and had to hit the eject button.
You know what? A rider like Alex Alanko from Sweden spends a lot of time riding indoor parks, and they don't typically wear full-face helmets in those indoor parks. I'm wondering if he was having a hard time with the air awareness, spotting his landing. It's different when you've got a face guard and a visor, but everything looked good there. I'm not sure why he jumped off, but hey, it's easy for us to sit here with microphones and critique why somebody would jump out in the middle of a Cork 720. Doesn't make much of a difference. We'll send him back up for second run, but look who we have in the gate.
This is going to become a super common name up here, David Godziek. He is so far podium perfect at his Crankworx appearances.
So David Godziek burst onto the scene last season, and he is taking this slopestyle thing serious. Of course, he's also a professional BMX competitor. To be at the top of 2 separate sports, it takes more than just riding bikes, so he's always posting training footage, whatever in the world that is. I would not want to be his sheetrocker. Oh, maybe I would. That's job security. But he's going to do some vertical push-ups for you, I suppose, and then, oh yeah, apparently this is taking the world by storm. He's working on his extension on his Supermans there with whatever that's called, the Splash Challenge or something. There was a time when you just rode a bike to get good at bike riding, but the level of competition these days has improved to such a point where you gotta, I don't know, what is that, pole dancing? You gotta do all kinds of crazy stuff to be ready for slopestyle. We're gonna find out right now if all the training and preparation is going to pay off. David Godziek dropping in.
We saw him doing some huge moves in practice. Really excited to see this run right now. You never know what this guy's gonna do. He basically has every trick in his arsenal.
Oh, come on.
Truck driver on the shark fin. Huge casserole on the step up right there. Triple tail whip on the hip. Not playing it easy and just doing a double. Somehow sneaking in that last one. A bonk to opposite tail whip up on the street bar.
Oh, come on.
Somehow getting speed for a front flip tuck no hander up.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
That was an opposite bar spin up. Woo, just not able to get the speed for that long and low. But man, that was an action-packed, exciting run out of David Godziek.
David Godziek having an issue with that bar spin. We're watching virtually a tornado of dust right now as the wind came through. And I'm wondering if that had something to do with David getting a little bit blown sideways doing the bar spin off of the on-off box. That would be one of the most vulnerable tricks you could do coming off of a flat drop, especially if there's a strong side wind. So David Godziek, if he wants to maintain his podium perfection on the Crankworx Slopestyle World Tour, he'll have to get back up for run number 2. But let's take a look at some of the moments of brilliance here. The triple truck driver.
My favorite part of that was the triple tail whip he did on the hip. He could have played it easy and done a double tail whip first run, but he was going for the win out here, and he wants to show that he's here to play, and he is so capable of competing with these top guys out here.
Here we go.
Opposite bar spin right there, possibly getting caught up in a little bit of wind. He was struggling for speed off as well, which didn't help.
I mean, if you saw, he almost under-rotated the front flip variation onto the box, which caused him to lose some speed. The combination of that speed loss plus a little bit of a side wind, it would have been pretty tough to bar spin off of that drop under those circumstances. So the score coming in for David Godziek, it's going to be a throwaway, a 30. And he'll look to run number 2 to maintain his podium perfection on the Crankworx Slopestyle World Tour. But let's take a look at this fun little start list. Let's see who we got next, because it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. Oh yeah, Eric Fedko. The German had a 3rd place at Joyride in 2018, did not crack the podium in 2019, but that doesn't mean he wasn't one of the top riders we were paying attention to last year, and he's continued to just completely fill in the gaps. He's got very unique trips. He also is running a slopestyle specific bike. Let's check in with Christina Chapata with the Pink Bike bike check.
What's up, guys? Christina Chapata here with Pink Bike, and we've got Eric Fedko here. He's going to run us through his super sweet slopestyle bike.
Yeah, I'm here with my Rose the Bruce Dutcham bike, which I'm really stoked on because it's super light. I got SRAM components on it. I even got a gyro so I can spin my bars as many times as I want.
Sweet ass. How much PSI are you running in your tires? You're taking pretty big hits, so I would imagine a lot.
I don't know how many PSI, but I got 4 bars.
There you go. That works also. How about your fork? I noticed a lot of people, like, if I try to push on it, I can't even move it. So how's that going?
Mine is pretty soft. I think I have like 10 bars on it. Okay. Usually people run like 12 or 13 bars.
Looks good. Good luck this weekend. Can't wait to see. Cheers.
There we go. A little insight into the bike setup from Eric Fedko. There you see him with that hydraulic detangler. You get great braking power out of that thing and never have to think about your cables winding up too much. How many bar spins or tail ups you can do from top to bottom in a slopestyle run here. And let's drop them.
Oh!
Wow! No way!
Oh, I gotta just process that for a second. I don't think we've seen that off a step down yet. Truck driver to tail whip. Such a huge move. That's our favorite Eric Fedko move, the 360 seat grab Indian Air. Double tail up on the hip.
He's gotten even better in the offseason. This is ridiculous.
Always. Every time this guy shows up, he's better. He just keeps getting new, better and better, bigger tricks. Combos like that. Opposite 360 up, truck driver down. Backflip on the long and low. We saw him do something big in practice on this jump right here. Backflip bar spins to tail. Yes! So long, but able to hold on. That was an exciting, action-packed run, and I can't get over that first move. 360 bar spin to tail up. Have we ever seen that on a step down? Holy.
Let's think about the bookends on this run. Kicking it off, the step down 360 bar spin to tail up, and then on the final jump, the backflip bar spin to tail up, and then his extension has become even large. Like, what do you even call that now? It's like a 360 heart attack Indian Air because he's almost going vertical, the extension on that 360 Indian Air.
That was insane, this right here. Just a 360 tail up is known as a huge move on a feature like that, but he was able to throw in a bar spin before the 360 tail whip. Man, this guy is so exciting to watch. That right there, so much style and so unique.
See the look over on that 360 seat grab Indian Air as well, just like stalling it out for the camera operators.
That was an opposite bar spin there off the street box. So even those small little differences in his run play a big factor into his score. Opposite 360 up. That run was the whole package, man. He was spinning both ways, had huge combos on everything. Rides with so much confidence, and he always has. We noticed that from the very beginning with this young rider. It's like he's been doing it his whole life. Backflip bar spin and tail. Look how long he goes on this landing too. Like he was about 8 to 10 feet down.
Goes long, yet the feet stay on the pedals. It's kind of everything that the judges are looking for. They're looking for variety in tricks. They're looking in precision in the execution. And for those reasons, I'm really wondering where this score is going to land him in those standings. The score to beat, an 85, held by the Czech Republic's Jakub Vencl. As we await the score for Germany's Eric Fedko.
Such an exciting run right there. So many things about that. The judges are going to need to take their time and process
Okay,
that
there we
whole,
go.
Wow.
Whoa, we're into the 90s, folks, at 90.25. Skyrocketing Eric Fedko into the lead.
That was exciting.
Yes. Oh my, Eric Fedko. A lot of people are saying, you know what, I think this might be the year of Fedko. And after that first run of his 2020 season, yeah, that was some good speculation. There's what the standings look like so far. Break it down for me, Tyler.
Excited to see Jakub Vencl in second place. Been on tour for a long time. Second place, standing in that spot would be a great finish for him, Thomas Genon. Obviously, we haven't seen him complete a Crankworx run since Red Bull Joyride 2018. So it's almost been a whole year. Another newcomer, Lukas Huppert in fourth place. Tim Bringer, last year's Rookie of the Year. Rounding things out for the top 5. But this guy, what can I say about Emil Johansen? Cam?
Well, he's kind of the man to beat, and he's kind of in the gate right now. And he's kind of going to be filming this run so we can watch it and enjoy it later. He was the winner of last year's Red Bull Joyride. It was his first win on the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship Tour, and he's at it again. Here we go.
360 tail whip to inward table right there. Classic Emil style. Oh my gosh. Truck driver to opposite downside tail whip.
Oh, wait a minute.
That was an opposite triple tail whip. I had to process that one. Going into a regular double tail whip. I've never seen him do that move. Fast plant 360 up. Nollie 360 down. Oh my gosh. Opposite 360, opposite bar spin, regular bar spin down. 360 inward table to bar spin out. A front flip on the long and low. What will it be on the last jump?
Oh my gosh! The 360 windshield wiper, and the crowd goes insane. No way!
Look at the other riders just laughing. Like, what is this kid capable of?
By the time he got to the on-off box, he'd already done more tricks than anybody else's full run.
That was mind-blowing. That was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Come on. All right, let's try to break this down.
360 tail up. I still got some time. I'm going to throw some style in there. I forgot about, oh my gosh, so many things. Truck driver to opposite downside tail whip. And then this right here. I had to think about this for a second. That was an opposite triple tail whip, which I've never seen anybody in the world do. I heard he had it in practice last year, but was unable to pull a run, so I'm so happy we got to see him do that this year. Into a regular double tail whip on that hip. That right there was a tongue twister. Opposite 360 bar spin to opposite bar spin back. Oh my gosh, how does he have so much time in the air? We're watching him in slow motion, but I'm pretty sure that's how he sees the world. This right here, I had no idea what he was gonna do. Let's break this one down. 360 regular tail whip. Right here, when most people get back on, he decides to revert the bike the other direction into an opposite tail whip. Now, a tail whip to tail whip back is not a common trick we've seen in mountain bike slopestyle. It's called the windshield wiper. I've never seen Emil do it ever, and he just did it in a 360 after doing all that other stuff in a run.
We've been waiting an entire year to see that run. All the rumors about what he was doing in practice last year, we weren't able to see the run because he crashed in practice. That may have been one of the best runs I've ever seen. It's mechanic Ryan Gall. They're celebrating a job well done. And what will the score be? Eric Fedko's the man to beat. The score to beat, a 90.25. Emil Johansen packing more in than maybe we've potentially ever seen in the history of this sport. Score to beat, a 90.25. He has a 96! Emil Johansen goes into the lead. No way. Okay, we have to throw a headset on this long-haired Swede right now and talk to him.
Emil, that was quite possibly the best slopestyle run we have ever seen. We know you were working on some crazy stuff like that last year, unable to compete. How good does it feel to do that stuff? You've had some of that in your bag for a whole year and even unveiling some new stuff.
I mean, it was 3 years ago since I did a solid run here, or a run at all, actually. Like 2018, I was injured. 2017, or no, 19, I had a crash. And yeah, it just feels like redemption on the tough stuff that is in my past, and to be able to get that run together with new tricks that I've been working on and wasn't able to do last year, plus new stuff I worked on in the off season, feels just amazing.
Okay, so I have to ask about the 360 windshield wiper. Is that something that you were planning to do in this run last year, or is that something new that you've learned since then?
I learned it pretty much during this winter, and my ankles do not like it, to be honest, but yeah, I make it work and getting better and better at it.
That was crazy, man. Watching you ride looks like you're in slow motion. So great to see you do all those combos. I gotta believe, I gotta hope that was not a safety run, because you packed so much into that run, but we'll see how the rest of the field does and see what your second run will be.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks, Emil. All right, he's got a target on his back. I can't wait to see if anybody has what it takes to knock him off. And I don't think that we're just like buzzing on adrenaline and speaking things that we're going to take back later. I seriously think that's one of the best runs I've ever seen in my life. Like, ridiculous.
Most of those tricks were triple combos, meaning he was spinning and doing 2 combos in the rotation, which is just like completely unfathomable.
Well, let's take a look who we have in the gate right now. It turns out the 2020 season is going to be one for the history books. We've already seen that exemplified in the rest of our field, but now look at this guy, hot off of a win just last night in the Cliff Rotorua Speed and Style presented by Mons Royale. He was going up against Greg Watts, 2 veterans in Speed and Style, both of them with a lot of wins under their belts, and Thomas Lemoine able to put the whole package together here against Greg Watts. You got to think that he had less practice than anybody else out there because he was getting ready for that event. You got to also think that he had less sleep than everybody because he didn't leave the venue here until it had already been dark. So a big week here when you're gunning for those King of Crankworx points. If your name is Thomas Lemoine, Crankworx means a lot of events, not a lot of sleep. But also, he's the last rider to drop here in run number 1. Let's see what he's got. Yeah.
Perfectly executed 360 tail up off that start step down. Now Thomas got his best finish in slopestyle here last year with the second place. Wow, going for a big 360 tail up on the step up there. Struggling for speed a bit, but able to.
Oh, yes!
Doing what we saw Anthony do, jumping over that whole street box and throwing a bar spin in. Front flip up, truck driver down. So much style on that 360 table right there.
What? Oh, that was a crazy looking cash roll.
We don't see that trick out of Lemoine too often, and it was looking so close.
So people who will criticize that being called a cash roll is basically a corked 720 on a forward axis. So when you see them throwing it over that top shoulder, not the trailing shoulder, it puts them into a strange rotation. That was a real hybrid of a cash roll, and he wasn't able to put it down to tires. But take a look back at the beginning here. I was surprised to see him pedal in this flat bottom.
You see a lot of the other riders pedal, but Lemoine is always able to carry so much speed, but he must have got a little bit out of rhythm there. He was struggling for speed. The features in this line flow so well together, so if you make one mistake, it's hard. And you're always trying to compensate and make up speed for the next feature.
Yeah, it was almost a straight 7 there, but you know he was going for the cash roll. So let's talk about the street box. He gapped it. Anthony Messere was the only other rider in the field we saw gap it. I think he did a toboggan off it. And if you put this whole run together, he fixes the mistakes. He'll definitely shake things up. But that's not the run he was looking for. He will focus on run number 2. But man, you gotta be kidding me. The first round of runs for the 2020 season hints that this is going to be a wild ride, folks. There's the man right there, the current leader, Emil Johansen, with a run that earned him a 96. The closest rider was Eric Fedko a whole 5.75 points behind. Jakub Vencl holding down the fort there in podium territory in third place position. Thomas Genon just outside the box, so he'll be looking to run number 2. Man, we're off and running here in the 2020 season. Maxxis Slopestyle in memory of McGazza. Second run's coming up. Stick around for halftime show. All right, we're just hanging out up here in the booth trying to digest the insanity that we were just able to witness. Of course, we're hanging out at Skyline Gravity Park here in Rotorua, New Zealand, and I'm your host, Cam McCall, alongside my brother, Tyler McCall. We're still catching our breath from those runs, and we decided since we can't make sense out of it, we needed to join some homies, some friends who could maybe help us understand. One judge, Grant Fielder, and one just kind of a legend, Kyle Straight, one of the guys who was involved with the birth of this sport. You've been competing in this sport since it started, and I'm just going to kick it right off with a question. When we were first doing slopestyle, 03, 04, whatever, we were just like, this is an experiment, this is kind of cool. Would you ever have thought that it would have turned into that? I think that was one of the best slopestyle runs I've ever seen from Emil. It's kind of a different sport than what it was when it started, isn't it?
Dude, it's completely insane. Like, I was talking with a few other friends, and we're like, you know what, like, every single one of those riders, for the most part, are not slipping pedals. They're not like, they're just cruising through their lines, banging their tricks off. Like, every single time we would have been like, oh, there's a foot dab, That guy got squirrely, you know. It's grown so much, and those guys are so much more dialed than we ever thought you could be.
Yeah, I know, and they're doing like 4 more tricks in one jump. Like, I don't think one, well, definitely no one trick from that run is something that any of like the earlier slopestyle riders could ever conceive of doing. So it used to be like a couple years ago, we could have at least done 1 or 2 of those things, but now it's a totally different sport. I mean, you still compete in speed and style, so you still have to do a lot of tricks. But yeah, what do you make of just this taking off on its own path? Do you like to see some of those newer features being added to the mix? That street box is a little bit cool. It's just the tricks are carrying it, but now we're seeing some additions to the course design as well.
Yeah, I love seeing the street box. I mean, right? I mean, it kind of goes back, I'm sure you guys have been talking about a bunch with Timo, but like,
yes,
I love seeing that, right? That kind of brings it back to like when we were competing as well. So it's cool to see that, and then also just, you know, just the flow of the line, right? Like, so all those guys are riding so smooth, and I always like riding or watching people ride super smooth.
For sure. So speaking of riding smooth, Chop, a lot of smooth riding out there, not a lot of throwaway runs. When you saw that run from Emil, I'm hoping that I didn't influence you at all by just kind of screaming at the top of my lungs. It's one of the best runs I've ever seen. But what was the banter like between you guys? Because you have to place that somewhere where it represents what that run means in the context of what everybody else is doing, right?
Well, Emil, the moment he's about to drop in, you know you're going to expect a lot of craziness, so much variety, lots of tails, lots of bio spins. And in fact, the question I'd rather you ask is what could be the negative side to it?
Yeah.
So this is what we try and dig out. So obviously Emil's done a lot of tail whips, but there's lots of variety in there, so he's mixing it up. Opposite, so he's doing opposite triple tail whips straight into regular double whips. And it's funny, your conversations you're having with Kyle, like, you would have never thought an Oppo triple whip would have been possible, like, but now it's just for breakfast for him. So, but the scores obviously showed that his run was clearly straight up in the 90s, and yeah.
You know what's cool is he's leading the charge right now, completely sculpting the face of what slopestyle is, but he's also a well-rounded rider. He was out at Rampage this year.
Yeah, I know. That's what I love about the guy. He's just up for it. You know, they're young, keen, and ready to just send it.
Slopestyle is a great little springboard now for a mountain bike career. You've seen riders like Semenuk, Rheeder, and now Emil transition into other facets of the sport. But another thing that I think about here is those slopestyle riders, they don't get to go ride the trails when they come here. They have to just be laser focused on this. But the riders that do get to go ride the trails, they know there's so many good ones out there. And Maxxis had a cool initiative last year with a custom tire. And tell me more about that.
Yeah, last year Maxxis developed a tire, and the goal of it was to raise some money to support the local trails out here.
We're going to ride the Kaya Trail that Maxxis has funded. We put a ton of work and effort into, and we're stoked. It's going to be unreal.
Dude, insanely fun.
Like there's someone else following Casey who's like built the trail and he's just like gapping everything, and I'm just like trying to follow him, like we're going here, we're going here. It's actually like such like natural rhythm. It's epic.
Couple high fives, boys, girls, everybody.
The trail has been exceptionally popular all summer. You can tell from the lines that have developed in it, low lines, cut lines. All sorts, and yeah, it's hugely high traffic and being loved as the new go-to trail in summer.
So much fun trail riding to be had here, and there'll be plenty of time for these riders who are at the top of the list here at Slopestyle to be enjoying those trails when their Slopestyle days are over. But right now, we're just so grateful they're putting on such a good show.
Great to see companies like Maxxis supporting the local community, and more trails just keep popping up. So these guys are going to have plenty of time to ride these trails, as you said.
More trails, the better. So it was great having Kyle Straight up here in the booth breaking it down. Chopper Fielder, one of the judges. Cool to have their perspective. But Kyle Straight, he's been having a long week right now, a week that started out so fantastic. Let's break down some of my top 5 moments of the festival so far. Kyle's involved in one of these. Take a look. So Kyle Straight in the dual slalom race. Take a look at that chain snapping off. When you have the horsepower of Captain Lyle, your chain better look out. That was my first highlight. Second highlight, Garrett Meacham going for that Quark 720, a trick that you'd expect to just see in slopestyle, but he's bringing it out in speed and style. If you don't watch all the events out here, look what you're missing. Slalom, speed and style, and the international debut of the women's category in speed and style was just last night, where we saw riders like Via Verbeek and Jordy Scott racing and tricking. Jordy Scott taking top honors there, the gold medal. She was doing tuck-toe handers and tire grabs. And then for the men, another one of my favorite moments right here was this guy who's so busy during a Crankworx festival, Thomas Lemoine. We just saw him do his slopestyle run, but less than 24 hours ago, he picked up the gold medal in speed and style. All right, my last favorite moment so far, Jill Kintner, she's back for a full World Tour run here, trying to regain the throne for Queen of Crankworx. Of course, Via Verbeek won it 1 year ago. And so, Jill Kintner back for more. You saw her there take the gold out from under Casey Brown in the dual slalom. So if you're just joining us on Red Bull TV for slopestyle, you got to join us the entire week because there's so many events.
So many events, and all these athletes out here, a lot of them anyways, are gunning for that King of Crankworx. So there's more than just each event. It's such a whole World Series, and there's so much at stake.
Ooh, this is gonna be fun. Okay, back to slopestyle. Let's take a look at our first place run so far, side by side with our second run so far, almost 6 points separating these two runs. And let's break down where Emil Johansen got those points.
So right here, Fedko with the truck driver to tail up, which I'm not sure. I think that might score a little bit higher than Emil right there. Both huge triple combos we never thought we would see on a start feature like that. Both riders pulling out big tricks right there, but Emil obviously being the standout. And the opposite triple tail. Triple tail would be a big move, but to do it your unnatural direction.
Yeah, there we go. That was mirror image right there.
Identical with the double tail whip.
So a lot of similarities here in this run. So far, it was all about that second jump as the game changer, where Emil had that 360 bar spin, a downside tail whip.
Wow, you can see so many similarities, but Emil just adding tiny little things to just up the score against Eric Fedko. Wow, man. It's insane comparing those runs and knowing that one of those is second place and it's not in first, because if it weren't for Emil's run, that run would be so hard to beat from Eric Fedko.
It's like every time you're watching Fedko's run going, all right, I think he's got him there. You know, like the 360 C-Crab Indian Air with the best execution we've ever seen out of him. You're like, oh yeah, Emil did an opposite triple whip. You know, if it was a triple whip, you'd be like, all right, you know, the triple whip probably takes it. But an opposite triple whip, it's just taking it, and that's the mental game right there. Taking it, all right, this is going to be a step up, and then just thinking outside the box, how can I step it 2 times up?
Exactly. He's on a whole nother level, and these guys are trying to play catch up and see what they can do in these second runs here.
Okay, so hint, hint, this is going to be a crazy season. How are we going to finish off this season? The way we always do it, Red Bull Joyride, where this sport was born. Whistler, British Columbia. If you're going to come hang out with us, make sure you pick up a ticket for the VIP experience. There's still some available. You could be hanging out in the Skybox presented by the Barefoot Bistro, the best seat in the house. Get your tickets at crankworx.com/Whistler/VIP. Here's a look at some of the riders you might be able to see if you get your VIP tickets. Jakub Vencl holding down the bronze medal spot. Eric Fedko in second. We just saw his run side by side with your current leader, the 96 belonging to Emil Johansen. Can he go back-to-back wins? He won Joyride last year. He would love to win here in the Maxxis Slopestyle in memory of McGazza, but every rider gets another run. We're gonna kick it off after the break. Don't go away. Yes, yes, yes. Joining us live from Rotorua, New Zealand. Stop number 1 of the Crankworx World Tour and stop number 1 of the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship. This is the Maxxis Slopestyle in memory of McGazza. I'm your host, Cam McCall, alongside Tyler McCall. And Tyler, I thought about this a minute ago. Thank goodness it's not boring. You got your foot in a walking boot. You came all the way down to the Southern Hemisphere, can't even ride. Can you imagine if these guys didn't put on a good show for you?
I got nothing to complain about. That was some of the best riding we've ever seen, which we do say a lot, but every contest just gets better and better.
Yeah, this is a day we're going to be talking about for a long time, and there's still a whole nother run to go. All these riders get to take aim at that top score being held by Emil Johansen. We're going to see Alanko starting things off for us, and look at that. He's in the gate, ready to rip.
Alanko had his best finish here last year. His first run didn't go to plan. He had to hit the eject button on the 4th feature. So you got to know he's frustrated. He's been working really hard in practice all week. He knows the run he wants. We know he's capable of doing big things on this course.
All right, so keep your eyes peeled for that 4th feature, as Tyler said. Hitting the eject button on the Crankworx 720, a trick that he can do in his sleep. So, one more opportunity here to get a good result and some very valuable points to hopefully stay on tour. Join us in Innsbruck for the 2nd stop. That's what a lot of these riders are thinking about. Get those valuable points. Here we go, Alanko on course.
Starting things off with an opposite 360X up. We saw him do a combo on that run 1, but still a big maneuver right out of the gate. Backflip bar spin on the step up. So this is where things went wrong for him in run number 1. Crankworx 720 getting it so perfect, making it look easy the 2nd time around. Using the up box feature to a truck driver up, opposite bar spin down, double bar spin up. 360 down that huge drop. Massive front flip on the long and low. And an opposite Crankworx 720 on the last jump. Yeah, I might have crashed on a Crankworx 720 the regular direction in the first run. So I'm going to do an opposite one on the last jump, 2nd run.
Oh, that was a great run there for the Swede, Alanko. So a couple things that he missed at the beginning of this run that he had in run number 1, but he was able to put it top to bottom. That's what matters most. Get those insanely valuable points. Take a look back.
He's clearly looking sore in the finish crowd right there. This was not a light slam he took in run number 1, so it's great to see him get back up there and maintain those points. So that may have not been the dream run he wanted to do, but still ending it with an opposite Crankworx 720.
Spinning toward his front foot there for the opposite. Makes it a little bit more difficult. Also, if you consider, that's like him signing his name with his opposite hand. Being ambidextrous, being able to do these tricks both ways, it's something we come to expect here from all the top riders on this tour, but it's not something that we can ever take lightly. And the judges right now making sure they give credit where credit is due for this run here from Alanko.
It's like signing with your opposite hand while upside down and backwards.
I smell a feature. We should try to get all the riders to do that. Look at that. There's the man to beat right now. He's in the fortunate scenario of being able to hang out, watch his friends take aim at the target on his back. But wow, the run that he dropped still has our jaws on the floor. Now, fellow Swede Alanko doing what he came here to do and getting a 77 for his efforts, putting him into 6th position.
Not bad. So he was sitting in last place after run number 1, able to get back in the start gate after that hard slam, sitting in 6th place. So we're likely to see him in Innsbruck.
So here's the way we do this here. Run number 2, we drop them in reverse ranking order. So we saw Lemoine be the last rider to drop in run number 1. He had an issue. That's why you're seeing him be the first rider to drop in run number 2. So a couple little bobbles in the middle of this run, but a crash on the last jump.
So close to holding that one together right there too. Just slightly under rotated on that 720 rotation. But he's got another chance. So here he is in the start gate. He was our last rider to drop in run number 1. Now he's our 2nd rider to drop in run number 2.
Thomas Lemoine on course.
360 tail up, so clean. I love how nosedived he gets on that trick right there.
Ooh.
He's got the speed and the rhythm going in this run for that huge 360 double tail whip. Big move right there for Thomas Lemoine. Double truck driver on the hip.
Here we go.
Yeah! Oh, wow. We're calling that the Timo Pritzel. That's when he jumped the whole feature. Big truck driver down. Great style on that 360 table. Let's see if he can stomp this one clean in run number 2.
There we go. There's something to be said for not having to wait a really long time after a mistake. He got right back up there.
Oh,
look.
He is stoked. He rides with so much perfection, and that's why run number 1 just didn't look like a typical Thomas Lemoine run. We're not used to seeing him drop last, so maybe having all that extra time to think about it played a part in how run number 1 unfolded. But with this reverse dropping order, he was able to do his second run right after, fix those mistakes, and land. Complete run top to bottom.
I mean, I like everything about this run. You don't see him pedal very often, but this is why he needed the extra speed to just boost off that lip, that 360 double tail whip.
Now jumping that whole street box, the plus side of that is it gives him extra speed for that step up there, so he's able to do a big maneuver up like that front flip.
Yeah, I like the street box, especially seeing Lemoine and Anthony gap the whole thing, and now Lemoine doing it with tricks. I love the features that have options. Not the biggest feature on the course, but it's nice to see them get creative. Lemoine, one of the most creative riders in the field, of course. His spare time, he spends it rapping, recording music. As if he has any spare time. This guy competes in pump track, speed and style, and slope style. So waiting on the score here for Thomas Lemoine. He did his job for the day. That's the first run we've seen in run number 2 here. What will the score be? And most importantly, where will that slot him into these standings? Yeah, the rotation was even better on that cash roll on the last jump. The first one he didn't have it from the get-go. It wasn't on the axis he was looking for. So absolutely everything ironed out in that last run.
You could tell he was able to get the snap right off the bat, put that down perfect to 2 tires.
You know when you see Lemoine take a pedal in a slopestyle run, he's going to be launching.
There's a reason.
Clear for takeoff.
One of the best riders out there at generating speed. Love seeing riders jump that whole street box. There's a famous German legend named Timo Pritzel who back in the day kind of made that popular, just jumping over features on course. It's great to see that stuff coming back.
Lemoine waiting for the score here. The judges taking their time to crack into podium position. He's going to need to beat an 85. That's the score that Jakub Vencl posted. He's currently sitting in 3rd position. To take the lead, he'd need to better a 96. All right, the score coming in. What will the story be for Thomas Lemoine? There we have an 88.25, wow. So he does better that score from Jakub Vencl and move into medal territory. 3rd place at the moment for Thomas Lemoine. So our next competitor is typically more on the quiet side, but we did take the opportunity to catch up with David Godziek earlier. Have a listen.
I feel more confident now after riding the past season on the slopestyle courses. I have more experience now, and I hope I will do better on the slopestyle features. I like hips, so the 4th feature is the hip I like the most. I think the new feature is pretty interesting and can't wait to ride it.
So what is he talking about? Well, if you didn't know, he also competes in BMX, and he wins some of those events. He's won BMX Dirt at the X Games before, so he's talking about those more slope style influence features like the flat drop. You saw him crash a bar spin on the flat drop. So one more opportunity to get a score here and remain podium perfect at Crankworx Slopestyle.
This guy could really, really shake things up in this field right here. Already starting things off huge. Cash roll mid-course. Triple tail whip on that hip, catching with so much time. Perfect to pedals. Opposite tail whip up, table down. I would love to see him make it to this.
Oh, okay. Woo, man. All right. It won't be a top to bottom smooth run for David Godziek. I'm just happy he didn't fall off the on-off box.
That's such a risky move right there. With that new feature, the riders don't have as much speed up onto that street after the street box, so opting for the front flip, tuck no-hander up there.
David Godziek's fiance looking on. She is even happier than us that he didn't fall off that on-off box. The first year we had this competition, I believe 2015, Carson Storch fell off of that thing.
Okay, he's not done yet.
Oh, you're right, look at this.
He's gonna put on a show, and I saw him doing some stuff on the last jump.
How's your gate starts?
And I just wanted to see him get to that last jump because of what he was doing in practice, so maybe we'll get to see.
Yeah.
He's just checking to see if he can even get the speed from there. We're not sure, but I know he wants to put on a show.
Somebody get him an e-bike.
Yeah,
this is what's up right here. This is what it's all about. Look at the size of this crowd. They're so enthusiastic. David Godziek's going to give him a show.
Huge 360. What's he going to do on this last jump?
Yeah. The twister no-hander for the crowd.
Just doing that for fun. His run's going to be a throwaway, but still going for a 1080 rotation tuck no-hander. I saw him doing twisters on that jump at least 3 times in practice, so I knew he was going to throw in some kind of combo.
Okay, Tyler, you told me that these orange tubes are supposed to be $60 and they're supposed to decrease blowouts, but the only tubes we're seeing right now are those fancy orange tubes.
Oh, they're supposed to be light.
Oh, okay.
Something. I don't know much about them. It's crazy technical, new age stuff.
It's a special effect tube, so when you're doing it for the crowd and you do the sickest trick, it just explodes. It's like pyrotechnics.
Man, I'm so glad he was able to stop before the end of that drop right there. Look at the extension on that.
He almost hyperextended his elbows. Okay, I hope when you're watching at home, you're screaming at your TV, because I just turned around and looked at the crowd. They are so into this right now, and I hope you are too. David Godziek, a rider who's always down to do it for the crowd. He came out last night for the best trick competition, took the win with a casserole bar spin. A lot of the riders reserving for slopestyle, but he knew there's going to be an audience there, and he was willing to put on a show. So not going to be another podium for David Godziek. This will be his first time not landing on the podium, but let's take a look at some of the nationalities that are currently in the top 3 spots. All European. Fun little statistic. In the history of Crankworx, there's never been an all-European podium. There's always been at least one North American on there. But take a look at who has the opportunity to keep that streak alive. Nikolai Rogatkin, the man who has won this event before, but he's only got one more opportunity to get a score in the bag. If you remember from run number 1, he had a great run going. He was going for the front flip tail whip on the final jump. It looked like this. We talked to him on the headset. He said it wasn't about the speed, it was more about needing a little bit more snap on the lip. You need so much rotation to be able to get that bike around, put your feet back on the pedals, and he'll actually hook those feet on the pedals and use the feet to pull the bike down to finish out that rotation. So you know that's on his mind right now, but he needs to take it one step at a time. A lot of features on this course. Each one of them needs to be perfect. Here we go.
Here we go. Anytime Nikolai drops in, it's going to be a show.
Yes.
Cork 720, he has that on such lockdown. Corked out flip on the shark fin, pedaling for this twister.
Oh, yeah.
1080 rotation, landing so smooth. The king of these unique new age rotations, Nikolai Rogatkin. Tail whip up, 360 down. That feature comes up so fast. Suicide up. We're going to see him make it to this last jump here. 360X up down. Tuck no hander.
All right, get the snap here. Front flip, tail whip,
stops
it. Yes, Nikolai Rogatkin.
Oh, so exciting to watch that guy ride, and here's his Sally.
That's the Sally we were asking for. Hey, it all went as planned. Hey, we told him we would Sally with him. Let's do it. Come on.
I'll leave that one up to you. You look like you're going to throw another shoulder out.
Yes, Nikolai. All right. So we talked about that fun statistic earlier. We need to see the score here. Will he be able to beat the 88.25 of Thomas Lemoine and put a North American on this podium?
so many rotations. Work 720 on the start step down, such a huge move. And this right here, 1080 rotation mid-course.
So let's talk about the front flip tail whip, because I remember in the past, you know, he's done the cast roll whip in Innsbruck. He's also done fronty whip, but I feel like I remember him saying that the fronty whip is actually harder.
He said it's the hardest trick that he does, also his least favorite, but the judges love it because they know the technicality of it.
Nobody else is doing it. That always means something.
We'll see if we get a replay of it, but I want you to watch his feet, because if he doesn't get his feet on the pedals, on the tail whip of the front flip, then the rotation's not going to come around.
Okay, well, let's take a look at this front flip tail up here. He needs to get good snap off the lip. And here we go. Watch these pedals right here and right here. He puts his feet on, and then hope you got good grip on your shoes, because that's used to just pull the rest of the bike down. Whoa, look! He was floating until the last second. Oh, man. Yeah, even up until the last second, he wasn't attached to the bicycle. Always about the big fisted punch for the celebration. Sally! Way to go, Nikolai Rogatkin. All right, I can't wait to see if we can stay on this podium as North American riders who used to compete in slopestyle. We got to be rooting for this score right here. All right, can this all-European podium be broken? We're moments away from finding out. He needs to beat the 88.25 of Thomas Lemoine right now. I mean, all the way since 04, there's always been a North American in the top 3. What's it gonna be? How high will it climb? Look at that second place for Nikolai Rogatkin. Let's go. 93, only 3 points off of Emil Johansen. Rewarded for that front flip tail whip.
Like that last season. I'm fucking
So we're, as he's saying, we're so used to seeing him in that top 3. Last year, his best finish was a 4th place. Starting to fall off tour. He was close to falling off,
Emil though,
which is unfathomable because he's always so consistently in the top 3. So now we see him where he belongs, sitting in that top 3, 2nd place. For Nikolai Rogatkin right now, we have more riders trying to shake things up. This guy right here, Owen Marks, we know him so well growing up in Aptos, California. New face on this Crankworx scene. We saw a lot of potential in run number 1. I know he has more he can add. It's tough for these guys that haven't ridden this course in the past because they haven't had a ton of practice this year. So they have a lot more things to figure out.
All right, so take a look back. We're gonna refresh your memory. He was the first run of the day, and we said that he had some things that he could polish up a little bit. Now take a look at earlier on here. There's a couple features where he just did a bar spin. You know he's going to be looking for more than that. This 3rd feature was one of them. What do you think, bar to whip?
I didn't want to give away what he was thinking, but I don't know. He has so many tricks in his bag. He's got great combos. His bar spins and tail whips have come so far. He's throwing them all into tricks now. So we'll see. I'm really curious to see what tricks he's going to choose for this 2nd run right here, because I know he's capable of big things. Backflip, double bar spin again, making that look so easy. Big flat spin on that shark fin. Going for a backflip tail whip.
Good choice, good choice.
Smooth, this kid. 360 tail whip. Bar spin up the street box with a 360 down. Will he get the speed? Opposite 360 up. Regular 360 down. That's got to be one of the biggest drops he's ever spun. Hasn't ridden a ton of these courses before. Coming into the last jump.
Cork 7
yes, a perfect Cork 720.
Completely straight to the landing on that last jump. Great performance out of the Crankworx Slopestyle rookie, Owen Marks, rising to the occasion and showing there's a reason he earned a spot into this competition.
I just got chills. We've been watching this kid ride for so long, since he was just a little guy riding the Aptos post office jumps. It was evident from a very young age he would be here one day. Worked so hard every day to just hone these tricks in. He hasn't spent a ton of time on a course like this. For a young North American rider, there are not too many events that they can get to unless they have these big travel budgets to go to the European events. But anytime he's shown up, he's ridden super successfully.
Look at this last jump here. Just if you think about it being an exact 720, like the line straight down. If you were to draw this as a grid work, he's pointing straight down on the landing. No over rotation, no under rotation. So all the tricks that he's doing, the execution is what's going to stand out for the judges.
That's kind of Owen's forte, is doing things so perfect, so clean, and throwing so much style in there.
Even just the flat drop 3 off of the box, it's like he kind of had his bars turned inward, his knees dipped into the top tube.
Now he's what we call a goofy-footed rider. So he's left foot forward, but his natural direction to tail whip and to spin is a little different than normal.
So goofy-footed, you say? Or did you just say goofy or goofy-footed?
A little bit of both this guy.
Yeah, okay. All right, what's the debut of Owen Marks going to look like here on the Crankworx World Tour? Looking for those points to be able to earn the invite to Innsbruck later on this summer.
Come on, what's it gonna be? I wanna see this climb.
So 72.25 puts him into 11th position, and a great learning experience out here for him. He proved that he belongs, and hopefully he can take some of those points, stay on tour. 72.25, a huge improvement as far as numbers are concerned from run number 1, but it did not move him up the rankings very much. Oh yeah, Anthony Messere. In his 10th Crankworx Slopestyle season. We talk about longevity, we talk about Anthony Messere. Look out.
Backflip bar spin, throwing those bars so early. This kid's tricks are so dialed. Backflip 1-footed can on that shark fin. Look how high he goes on that front flip tuck no-hander. Arguably one of the best there's ever been at that trick. Grabbing pedals, oh, bar spinning, the Timo Pritzel over the street box. Backflip bar spin up, tail whip down. The only rider we've seen do that so far. Front flip on the long and low. One more jump, backflip, double tail.
Get it. Oh man. Oh, it's so good that he rolled out. Obviously, feet off the pedals, so he'll get deducted a little bit for that, but what a run. There's always so much energy in his runs.
They're so exciting. He goes so much higher than everybody, and I don't know. Something about his runs have always been my favorite to watch. Like that. How does he throw the bars so early right off that step down? He's just always pumping and riding with, as you said, Cam, so much energy. So high on that front flip tuck no-hander right there. Got a BMX racing background, able to get the speed to jump over that whole box, throw a bar spin.
Yes.
Man, I love seeing that.
I just love that. I hope we keep seeing these features that throw a curveball into the mix, added to the slopestyle courses. So backflip, double tail up after such a good run. We're like, come on, just be flawless, be flawless. The cranks moved a little bit. He gets his feet above, but not able to connect the tread of his shoes to the pins of the pedals. But you know what? He rolled out. He'll get a good score there. They always take into consideration what the trick was that there was a bobble on. So a backflip double tail up with a bobble is obviously, it's going to be scoring higher than just a backflip tail up with a bobble, but the bobble will still factor in.
Close to perfection on Anthony Messere's second run. He was saying in practice he was having trouble getting those cranks to stop spinning while he's kicking that tail up.
Which is why tailping off the drop is so wild too. You just don't see too many riders tailping off the drop because if your cranks move, you're coming down with so much impact.
Curious to see how the judges reward jumping that whole street box and the tail whip on that flat drop. Just great to see riders breaking the mold, doing unique things in their runs as well.
All right, let's take a look back at when he gapped. So he goes off the dirt, touches down on the wood. You're seeing riders ride this a bunch of different ways, but only Messere and Lemoine are gapping the whole thing. And to add a trick to it, you saw both Lemoine and Messere add tricks. I'm a fan of this bar spin because he actually went deep as well. When he caught the bar spin, he was still correcting, going, oh, I'm landing deep. But that's what we've come to expect from an Anthony Messere run, is just so much energy. It's so fast-paced.
This right here has to be one of the scarier drops we see on tour to tail up. Such a steep landing with such a sharp knuckle.
So yeah, that trademark flat spin over the hip. Anthony Messere. Hey, he says, why do they always take so long for me? Because they're always trying to just figure out what just happened because it's always so exciting. You don't have a chance to breathe when he's doing a run, you know?
Shaking his head. He knows that if he was able to get his feet on the pedals for that last jump, his score would be higher.
Score in 69.25, so not an improvement from run number 1. They obviously docked him quite heavily for the flip double whip with blown pedals. So, top 4 as it sits right now, Lemoine right outside of podium contention. Eric Fedko on the bottom step of the podium. Nikolai Rogatkin hanging on to second place, and Emil Johansen with a nice comfortable buffer, 3 points ahead of second place. But Lukas Knopf, an opportunity to shake things up. 1, 2, 3.
Triple truck driver off the start feature. Now we saw a few straight bar spins in this run from Lukas Knopf in run number 1, so I'm curious to see what he'll do to change things up. Backflip tuck no hander to bar spin. So man, okay, snuck another bar spin in there. 3 whip to bar spin, double bar spin up, bar spin down. Flipping up onto this on-off feature with a slow truck driver down. Huge front flip on that long and low right there.
Oh, backflip tail, you heard him yell.
You could hear him scream, and we know what he was going for on that. He caught that flip whip so early and wanted to add a bar spin.
Yeah, we know.
He's like, that's all I had to do.
It's funny, I think he was sizing it up in run number 1 as well. He was looking to catch the pedals early and have a little gauge on how much time he had left, but I feel like that was like a speech exercise for you, Tyler. It's like say bar spin 15 times fast.
If I'm not wrong, I believe he did cram some more into this run, so we'll see if he's able to improve his score.
Yeah, you know what? The backflip tail will get scored as a backflip tail instead of missing a backflip tail bar spin. But it was quite obvious what he was hoping for. We're going to take a look back right now. Watch him catch those pedals early, stare at the handlebars, and he turns it for a second, thinking about giving those handlebars in that front wheel a 360-degree rotation. But if that's the only thing you can criticize about a run, you did a great job.
Great showing out here for Lukas Knopf. And as you said, they're not going to judge that knowing what he wanted to do. It was still a flip whip perfectly to pedals.
Knopf hanging out in 10th position right now. So he's hoping to move up. Judges taking the opportunity to reminisce here.
He spins those right there. 1, 2, 3.
In case there was any doubt, yep. Somehow he was able to squeeze in 3 bar spins on that lip down 360. Lukas Knopf with a huge online following. You know, all of his fans are hoping for a big number here from the judges, but look at the right side of your screen there. Emil Johansen, the man to beat, 96 for that run. Knopf looking to move up from 10th place. Camera shy Emil Johansen. All right, scores are in for Lukas Knopf, a 76.25. He does improve by 3 points, moving himself up 1 spot in the rankings, 9th place at the moment. So the Red Bull Rookie of the Year will be our next competitor. We caught up with him a little bit earlier to see where his headspace is at coming into his big debut. Have a listen.
I feel pressure, yeah, for sure, because like I got like the rookie thing, so it's like I didn't get like a wild card like everyone at like a gold competition, so it's like an extra thing a little bit. So yeah, I'm just scary to ride bad and like be like who is this guy and thing like that. But I'm not scary to ride with other guys because I know them and they are cool, and I know that I got the level to ride with them.
Yeah, for anybody who's saying, who is this linebacker? There we go. We get to know him a little bit. Tallest rider in the field right here. to think that he came from BMX is mind-boggling. He dwarfs this slopestyle mountain bike here. All right, Tim Bringer, run number 2.
Double truck driver to start things off. We've seen him at some of the lower level FMB events doing huge things with such big combos.
Oh,
like that. I don't know if I've seen him do that, but we just did. Double backflip tuck no hander. Wow, how did he get enough speed for that next jump? Now this is important for him to still get a run down the course and get some points. Looks like it's gonna be a throwaway. Still doing a cash roll to finish things off. Lots of potential from that tall Frenchman right there. Double backflip, tuck no hander on the step up.
Well, I know exactly what we're going to go back and look at for our replays of this run. Double backflip, tuck no hander. Here it is. Man. Front tire landed first. So barely squeezing out that double backflip tuck no hander, meaning that he had to do a bit of an improvisation for the rest of the run. Unfortunately, decided it wasn't going to beat his score from run number 1, so kind of waved it off, but still gave the crowd something to cheer for that off-axis 7 on the bottom jump.
He's having fun with it. And we see a lot of potential out of him, and hopefully we'll see him a few more stops this year. Because like I said, we know he's got some big tricks in his bag.
So, scores in for Tim Bringer, 48.5, not going to improve on his first run. He'll stay in 10th place right now, but I know this is not the last we'll see from him, but it's going to be tough with only 10th place scores, so we'll have to wait a couple months to see if he shows up in Innsbruck. Lukas Huppert, next rider in the gate.
From what I heard, he grew that mustache specifically for this event. He thought he'd look cool. That's what his friend Swiss Chris told me. Look at it, he's getting it ready there. I think it looks pretty cool. He seems to like it. Swiss Chris doesn't lie.
All right, Lukas Huppert. Seeing if the mustache was a good call. Is it his good luck charm?
360 tail, a big move out of the start feature. Downside tail up on the shark fin, pedaling for something big right here. Backflip tail up on the step up, landing that super clean.
Yes.
Cork 720 on the hip. Man, everything is got a lot of perfection in it. Truck driver up, bar spin down. 360 downside tail up, great move. Up that on off right there, 360 down. Bar spin on the long and low, one more jump.
Ooh, no pedal.
Wow, the judges.
Oh, tail up, obviously looking to add a combination. Nice berm roost in the finish line. The crowd, you know this is like a mountain bike rider crowd when they all cheer for the berm roost.
We're up here in the announcer's booth getting dusted out by that, but that was cool to see him rail that corner.
All right, a look back at this run here from Lukas Huppert.
360 tail up. What I notice about this young rider is he makes everything he does look super easy.
Catching pedals early on every trick. All right, let's speculate. What do you think he was going for here?
I don't know. I would imagine maybe tail up to bar spin, or maybe he wanted something all together and just, you never know. We'll never know, but we hope to see him again.
We'll never know. One thing we will know shortly is the score, 70, not an improvement. He stays in 7th place. Lucky number 7 for Lukas Huppert. What does the rest of the leaderboard look like? Let's take a peek.
Where's the beer?
Where's the beer? All right, so Lukas Huppert into 7th place and into the beer garden. As we take a look at the rest of our standings, Thomas Genon in 6th. Wow, it's going to be great to see him try to improve upon that. Jakub Vencl bumps off of the podium all the way down into 5th place. Thomas Lemoine 4th. Eric Fedko holding on to bronze medal turf. Nikolai Rogatkin in podium contention to keep the momentum alive for the North American contingent. And the leader, Emil Johansen, with that 96. All the way down, David Godziek bringing up the rear this time. 2 unfinished runs for him, but we are far from over here. This is going to be good. Thomas Genon back from injury. Smooth run in number 1. What's he got for number 2, Tyler?
We'll wait and find out, but we talk a lot about the technicality of these guys' tricks, but let's talk about bike setup real quick. Thomas Genon riding for Maxxis tires, going with the Maxxis Icon, the Pace in the front, running 65 PSI. These guys run so much pressure, and that's to hold these tires on so they don't blow off in an under rotation, but sometimes there's nothing they can do and the tires are gonna blow, but he's got a slick tire running for speed in the back, lots of tire pressure as well. Maxxis making some of the best slopestyle tires out there as well as downhill tires. Thomas Genon coming in with a 360 1-footed can X up. Tail up on the shark fin there. Wow. How does he spin that bike around so fast after the truck driver? Truck driver to tail up straight into a topside double tail whip. Nose bonk 360 up. Opposite fast plant 360 down. See if he gets the speed.
Oh, come on.
Opposite tail whip up.
How did he get that?
Woo, that was risky right there. Regular 360 down. 360 table on the long and low.
Oh, Yono! Oh, man.
Oh, no. Going for the cash roll, adding the 1-footed can in there.
Genon testing the shoulder.
Oh, going down so hard. We know he was dealing with shoulder injury last year, so we can only hope that thing's okay. This guy works so hard. One of our favorite people to see on this tour.
Oh, man, that's tough to see right there. Genon working so hard in the offseason to get back from that shoulder injury from this event a year ago, and now looking so on point all day, all week, and then last run, taking a tumble on the final jump. So we talked at halftime about how much this sport has progressed. Back in the day, there's people riding all different types of bikes, different types of gear, a lot of open face helmets, but a new development Crankworx has implemented is mandatory full face helmets. And you can understand why, good reason, but it's great to see that becoming a rule just to keep everybody that much safer out there. Thomas Genon making his way out of the finish corral now. As we look back at how he crashed, a little bit of under rotation on that cash roll, sat on the back tire, causes momentum to stop. There you go, you see that left shoulder impacting the ground. You saw him pointing at it, kind of signaling. Wasn't sure if it was in good shape, so we hope all the best for Thomas Genon right now.
Such a nightmare of a crash. These landings are so tall, and we get bucked to the bottom like that, it is not going to feel good.
All right, so Thomas Genon makes his way off the course as we take a look at the current standings for the Maxxis Slopestyle in memory of McGazza. Genon will not improve. He's sitting in 6th place right there. Jakub Vencl in 5th. Thomas Lemoine in 4th. Eric Fedko, Nikolai Rogatkin, and Emil Johansen rounding out the top 3. Can Fedko crank it up a notch and knock Emil out? We're about to find out. Don't leave your TV. Welcome back, slopestyle fans of the world. We're hanging out in the southern hemisphere, North Island of New Zealand, the beautiful town of Rotorua, a mountain bike town, trails everywhere you look, and mountain bike fans everywhere you look today, because it is the Maxxis Slopestyle in memory of the man, McGazza. It's the way we kick off every world tour, and wow, has it been a show. But guess what? It's far from over. Current standings, Fedko, Rogatkin, Johansen sitting into podium position, but look who we have in the gate. Jakub Vencl was hanging out in a podium spot for a while today. He's just outside now in 5th place, so another opportunity to increase that score right here. And of course, yes, Black Sabbath this time. Yes, Jakub.
Now, Jakub, as we said, got into this comp as an alternate, so these points are super valuable. 5th place is a great finish, but the better he can do, the more likely he is to be on the start list in Innsbruck and Joyride. So this is an important run for him right now. Already doing a great showing out here today, but obviously wanting to improve on that and get those ever so valuable points on the World Tour. Wow, lots of style right there with that 360 table. Backflip tuck no-hander.
Oh,
double
yeah.
backflip, landing that so perfect. Man, that looked terrifying for a second on such a big jump.
Oh, he got his Black Sabbath shirt dirty. Oh man, Jakub starting so strong.
Landing a little off balance on that double flip and looked like may have been a little short of speed for that 720 on the next hip jump right there. That's
Jakub Vencl pops up. He appears to be just a bit frustrated after that run.
He's got to remember, he is going to walk away with a 5th place, so not a complete throwaway of a day for Jakub Vencl. Getting a top 5 finish at these events is no easy feat.
Yeah, okay, well, let's look back because that run was so good before it came to a screeching halt. Here's where it went wrong. The 720, it looked like he came up a little bit short on rotation and distance.
Oh, gotta think if he had the right speed for that, his rotation looked like it would have been perfect. With that double backflip on the jump before, as we said, may have robbed a little bit of speed for that one right there.
We saw that same thing happen to Bringer. When you double flip, you're rolling the dice both with that trick and the speed you're going to have for the rest of the run. But Jakub Vencl making it off of the alternate list here today and making it count. Sitting in 5th position right now. And you know what, I'm thinking about who we have left. I don't think we have anybody who's behind him left to run. So Jakub may be safe with a 5th place position right now. We'll have to see who's left to go, but that's going to help his points in order to not be on the alternate list for Innsbruck. Hopefully make it to the big show as an invited rider. Oh, wow, getting word in my headset right now that Eric Fedko is happy with 3rd place. It's been a long time since he's been on the podium, and he landed his dream run. So consider this a bit of a celebratory run for the crowd. They might even train it because I think Emil Johansen accomplished what he set out to do today.
Both these riders guaranteed the positions that they're in, and they both look so happy. It looks like they're just going to train down and have some fun. They worked hard today. They deserve to have this moment right here. Your 3rd and 1st place finishers, they're still going to put on a show.
Now, if you're going to watch 2 riders in today's field do one for the crowd, these are the 2 you choose right here. Stylish in their tricks, but it's fun to see them not having to do the tricks that they know will score high and just have some fun with it. So much bike control, so much style out of both of these guys.
These 2 young riders really leading the charge in new age slopestyle right here.
Yeah. All right, Emil Johansen taking the gold medal. Look at the podium celebrating in the finish corral here. Eric Fedko in 3rd place, Nikolai Rogatkin in 2nd, and back-to-back wins going to Emil Johansen. Yeah, I think we've entered the age of Johansen.
We knew it was coming. Many people call him the future GOAT, the future greatest of all time. We've seen so much potential from him, seen him accomplish such big things, overcoming so much in his early career. Now we're seeing his full potential.
We're into the Johansen era. How about we reel back the tape and take a look at that historic run that earned him the gold medal. All right, Tyler, good luck calling all these tricks.
Oh, 360 tail whip to inward table. Biggest move we saw in this feature right here. 360 bar spin, opposite downside tail whip. Opposite triple tail whip, which we've never seen in a contest. Double tail whip on that hip right there. Fast plant 360 up, nose bonk 360 down. Opposite 360, opposite bar spin, a regular bar spin down. Okay, cool. Now we get to see it in slow-mo. I have some more time to call these tricks. 360 inward table. Look how slow and casual he does that bar spin too.
And look how
finger right on the brake lever, eyes up, ready for the next jump. This one right here is mind-blowing. 360 tail whip, stopping the rotation of that bike. These bikes aren't that light. It hurts to stop that bike. He said it's hard on his ankle, but he knows that was going to be a super high-scoring trick.
All right, well, let's take that helmet off and the headset on. He's got to be feeling some emotion right now.
Emil Johansen, we see you sitting exactly in position we've known you're capable of, showing so many crazy tricks out there. How does it feel to stand on top again?
I mean, it's surreal. This is what I thought about all winter when practicing, and this is what I'm determined to do, and it feels amazing that it pays off.
Yeah, Emil, so much hard work and triumphing over so much crazy adversity. I mean, this is what I was saying up here in the booth, is I feel like we've entered the era of Emil. That's a lot of pressure to put on your shoulders. So no pressure. But what does the preparation look like for Innsbruck? Stick to the plan?
Yeah, I mean, I just gotta keep doing what I do, have fun on my bike, and take it serious when it comes to training and health, and yeah.
Well, it's taken you a long time to figure out what works, but even though you're so young, you've been through a ton. So whatever you're doing, just, I don't think you should change a thing. Stick with it.
No, thank you.
That's the plan.
Thank you.
All right, time for Emil Johansen to get into the celebration right now. And wow, look at our leaderboard. Eric Fedko, Nikolai Rogatkin, Emil Johansen taking the top 3 spots. Lemoine just barely off of that podium, but Jakub Vencl performing from the alternate list into the top 5. Genon, a 6th place finish despite having that big crash in his second run. We can only imagine what his score would have been if he would have stomped that. Could have shaken up the podium perhaps. And Nikolai Rogatkin fixing that pattern that manifested itself last season where he didn't crack the podium even once. So we're back seeing Nikolai Rogatkin into that top spot. And wow, it was so close for a North American to not be on the podium of Slopestyle for the first time in 16 years. But we are far from over here at Crankworx Rotorua. We have another event tonight, the Pump Track. RockShox Rotorua Pump Track Challenge presented by Torpedo 7, kicking off 8 o'clock local time here in New Zealand. For you hanging out on the west coast of the US, it's 11 p.m. tonight, 8 a.m. Central European time. So join us for that. Of course, more downhill action tomorrow, Sunday's downhill day. Andrew Needling will be joining me for that. That should be a good show. But Tyler, final thoughts. What did we just witness right here? And will 2020 be the biggest slopestyle season in the history of the sport?
It's quite possible. And some of those newcomers had a lot of potential to show. Some of them made a little bit of mistakes in both their runs, but they're using this as experience. We hope to see them on tour some more. But man, it's going to be hard to catch up to Emil.
You said it. Stop number 1 is far from over. We've got Pump Track coming up later tonight. We've got downhill coming up tomorrow. So join us for that. And then where will we see you next after that? Innsbruck, stop number 2. You're not going to want to miss it. Take a look at a little teaser. June 10th through the 14th. Don't miss stop number 2, Crankworx Innsbruck. And wow, we're gonna be on pins and needles waiting to see these characters take to the slopestyle course there. Emil, he's gonna start chipping off all the events that he hasn't won yet. I mean, he's won Joyride, now he's won Rotorua. He's only got one more stop left to win until he's done the hat trick. You know he'll have his sights set on that coming June 10th through the 14th. But Eric Fedko, 2019 season missing the podium, working hard all off season, he is back.
The new age is here. With Eric Fedko showing so much potential in his rookie season and being so close last year, putting in the work in the offseason. And then Nikolai Rogatkin, not able to make a podium last year. We know he's not like to miss the podium, so it's great to see him back up there in second place.
Wow, listen to the crowd.
So much respect out of everybody for this guy. We all know how much he's been through and how hard he's worked to get here. It has not been an easy road for him. But man, it's so great seeing him live up to his potential, and he is paving the path for what this sport will be for years to come.
You know what? I hope it gets to the point where he just overshadows the huge story about the autoimmune disease and how he was almost having to quit his professional run here. I hope that he goes on to so much success that we forgot that was even part of the story. Look at that, 3 points ahead of Nikolai Rogatkin, Emil Johansen. But you gotta give it to Nikolai. I mean, when that 96 from Emil got posted, I was thinking, all right, well, nobody's gonna get even close to that, but only 3 points away, getting rewarded for that front flip tail whip. All right, Tyler, final thoughts from the competition we saw here today that kicks off the 2020 season.
I think the new age is here, and like you said, we've never seen a podium that doesn't involve a North American, so luckily Nikolai is still able to hold on to that for us. But Eric Fedko, Emil Johansen, and the rest, David Godziek especially, we didn't see him get a run, but we know he's capable of being on the podium. He did it twice last year, so it's gonna be an exciting season, and I can't wait to see what we have coming up next.
Well, we gotta give a big thanks to the riders out there, and we gotta thank you all for tuning in and joining us for this action. If you happen to be tuning in through Red Bull TV, then stick around. We've got the rollout post show coming your way, where we're gonna get the podium athletes up here in the booth. Thanks for joining us, and stick around for the post show. Welcome to the rollout here. We just watched the Maxxis Slopestyle in memory of McGazza. This is our post-show where we try to make sense out of the insanity that we just saw. I'm your host, Cam McCall, alongside our analyst specialist, Tyler McCall, and we're going to be joined by the entire podium, Eric Fedko, Nikolai Rogatkin, and Emil Johansen. Tyler, it's going to be pretty interesting to pick these guys' brains because that was one of the best slopestyle competitions we've ever seen.
Exactly, and we say that a lot, but it's true. They just keep getting better and better. We have these new guys coming in like Eric Fedko, Emil Johansen, finally riding healthy, riding to his full potential, showing new tricks, unveiling things that we never even thought were possible at all. Nikolai back on the podium. Such an exciting event.
Nikolai back on the podium and only one spot away from the win. He took second place. Let's talk about who took third place. Eric Fedko, a rider who has been on the podium before. It was 2018 Joyride, so he went the whole 2019 season without cracking the podium. But look, he came out swinging. First feature in particular.
360 bar spin to tail whip on the first feature, a trick we never thought we'd saw on a feature like that. His classic signature 360 seat grab Indian air. Everything was so clean, looked so relaxed while he's making his way down this course right here. He had regulars, opposites. It's an opposite 360 up onto that on-off feature right there. 360 regular bar spin down, backflip, and this right here. Such a big move. Believe this is a new one from him. Backflip, bar spin to tail whip. Great run right there for Eric Fedko, solidifying his third place finish.
Well, what an opportunity we got here to be able to watch that competition and then get the men themselves up here in the booth. Things are rocking. Things are rocking because there's a whole lot of energy that just joined us. Take a look at who we got. Eric Fedko, Nikolai Rogatkin, and Emil Johansen, organized based on height right here, I'm pretty sure.
And by placing.
Yes, and by placing. Oh, we are.
No. Because Emil should be in the middle, but he's got the #1 mic.
We are so organized here. All right, let's be incredibly organized and start with third place. Eric, that was a ridiculous run. Your extension on your 360 seat grab Indian airs is going vertical now, and you haven't had a chance to see your run because you were busy down there doing it. Take a look at that screen right there. We're going to show you back some highlights and have you explain to us what it was like performing these tricks, stomping the run, the emotions, maybe the sore shins. I don't know. What was going through your mind during that run? Come on, let's see the run. Let's go. Eric Fedko.
Hell yeah.
The first trick blew my mind.
Wow, bro. So yeah, I worked on it at Joyride last year. Couldn't land it, so I'm so stoked that I landed it here.
So it's ready for the run now, but you wanted to do it, what, off the start feature at Joyride last year?
Yeah,
okay.
I tried it, but I slipped out. And right there,
bro.
I just tried to get as much extension as I can.
That's become one of your signature tricks, and somehow it just keeps getting better and better every comp.
Planned more there, but you know, not that much practice, and yeah.
You actually looked at the crowd, or maybe there was like a camera operator standing right there, but you stalled out the extension, and you're actually going vertical with those right now. Are you aware of that? Are you striving for horizontal, or are you thinking, all right, I'm just gonna push this thing into heart attack?
Dude, I don't know, man. I just try to go like all the way up with my feet, and yeah.
I would assume you're so confident with it, it is whatever he feels like at that moment in time, just blast the lip, and
it just does what it does.
Good, right there, I jumped way too far, but yeah, could hold it together.
Holding on. I can't believe you went that far with today's speed, though. But
you can't tell by the way you landed, though.
Run, tell me about today's speed. You said it was crazy that he was able to go so far on that last jump. Some people were struggling getting speed for that last jump. You think it was wind? Was it super dry? What's the story?
I think it's like kind of the first time we hit this course, top to bottom, was basically this morning.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe like we didn't have the speed that perfectly calculated, and you obviously want to give it all you got for the last jump, especially for like a flip bar whip or a fronty whip or a 360 windshield wiper, you know? So we're obviously giving her a crank, and if we land flat and can hold on, that's better than coming up short.
I hear you, man. The practice situation was insane. Talk to me about that a little bit.
I mean, overall, the course changed just a little bit, but I feel like that little change affect the whole speed coming into this last section a whole lot. So I also think that's something that it got affected, like when it coming down to full course. But overall practice, I mean, yeah, we all probably hit the last part of the course 4 times yesterday or something.
So crazy.
And like, I double tagged it pedaling all the way from the drop landing into the lip. Like
crazy.
So it's far from ideal. Like this course have been one of the few courses on the Crankworx series where a lot of riders doesn't even take a crank. Like you literally drop in chainless and you would make it top to bottom. But today it would be really hard without pedaling.
Let's keep it rolling here and let's take a look at the greatest hits from your run, Nikolai. It's so good to see you back on the podium. Surprisingly not on the podium at any of the events last season, but look at this.
Starting off with the corky, keeping her with the flip because I need a lot of speed for this twister coming up.
Full speed.
Twisty worked. Or is that the cashy or the
cashy?
Bit mellow on the jib feature, but just trying to keep it together, holding on for this last fronty whip that gave me issues in the first run.
It's very rare I see you do.
I know, I was surprised to see that one.
Okay, you usually do the fast plant 360 and both of the flat drops here, you kept both feet on the pedals. Is that so you could get the variation of the 3X?
Honestly, I had a really big crash at Darkfest.
No way.
And I have some very painful issues with my left knee.
No way.
And that happens to be the knee that I do foot plant 3s with. So foot plant 3 is kind of out of the question. I did one on the little drop and damn, that hurt. So had to keep the foot on.
Yell and switch.
All right, so your knee's a little bit
Fronty
sore
whip
from
right there.
Darkfest. It makes sense why you're not going to jam it into the ground to start your 3s. But how do you keep your shoulders in the socket during your sellies?
I don't know, man. It's bound to come out. I made myself fall over in Innsbruck a couple years ago with the fist pump, so I don't know. I can't handle the stoke. You guys know the feeling when you land a full run is unreal.
Yeah. It's hard to prepare for what am I gonna do after round? You just go with the flow and you're probably usually so amped that you just can't control yourself.
I like that. That's one thing that makes slopestyle unique is just being right there. The crowd has such close access to you, and the fact that you guys just get so fired up when they get fired up. And I get the opportunity during these broadcasts now to pick one of my favorite moments. We're calling it Cam's Call Out, and I know exactly what I'm going to use for this one. All right, let's roll it. Cam's Call Out. Okay, so when the crowd is cheering, your run has derailed, but you still want to give them something to yell about, and your name is David Godziek. You sprint into the drop, and you get as much speed as you can for the final feature. You do a twister, a front cork 1080, no-hander, so much extension that your elbows almost go out, hyperextended. I don't know who's going to hurt their joints sooner, you, Nikolai, for your sellies, or Nikolai for the extension on his twister no-handers. But look at this, adding pyrotechnics to the show. His back tire explodes, the crowd explodes. That's what it's all about, man. It's like sometimes you guys look like you just can't control yourself because there's so much energy going on.
Yeah, eh?
Man, we just have so much hype coming up to the event, and you just want to put everything into your run. So when the run goes wrong, I've done it before, you get back up and you keep sending because that's the mentality that you have when you're dropping in for your runs.
All right, speaking of mentality, what kind of focus does it take to do one of the best runs in the history of slopestyle? Let's take a look at that screen right there. We're going to roll the winning run by Emil Johansen, and I want to hear what you have to say about it.
Wow. I mean,
he's speechless.
This is his first look at it.
That
this
trick
is messed up.
That trick I practice a lot at home, and it's really hard, especially on a step down with a very flat takeoff.
That right there.
I mean, it's kind of going too fast right now for me to.
Yeah, you're telling me, man. I had to take a double take to even know which direction that triple whip.
That track down up top was super scary because you're going so fast into that underspin 360, and then switch triple whip is super hard to have consistent. I'm really stoked I managed to do that. Double whip on the second hit. So much wind, and then some fast plant nollie stuff, and then
so late.
That thing was not supposed to be that late. I probably got caught in the wind, and I was like, oh, I better just get this one around. Fronty, I did the first time this morning. Jeez. Really fucking scary, to be honest, but I made it.
Okay, here, you did right before the finals started, and I told the viewers, I said, I saw something I've never seen before, hopefully see in the finals. I didn't spill the beans, but there were the beans right there. How many times have you landed that trick? Obviously, it's never been done in competition, but you personally.
I mean, look at maybe 2 or 3 months into it.
Okay.
I do it a few times a week.
That's what slopestyle is now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of preparation and a lot of sore ankles going into this one, but made it happen, and so excited I couldn't even control myself riding around the berm, so I just blew into the berm after my run.
3 amigos right there celebrating A job well done in the finish line, Carell. I just want to say on behalf of every single slopestyle fan in the world, congratulations, but also thank you for putting on a show for us. We love it, and we can't wait to see what the rest of this season has in store.
Thank you so much, Cam.
Speaking on behalf of everyone, I think today was really hard when practice and all that was not ideal. So I'm stoked everyone is healthy.
I'm super stoked we could make it happen, and everyone was shredding, man. Everyone.
Ripping. So, high fives. I want a piece of this action right there. Right there. Right there. I'll relay them to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Three of them, though. Three of them.
I'm kind of stranded here with my dumb foot.
There we go.
We'll do air fives. Thanks for the show, boys. That was amazing.
As I fall off. All right, everybody. You're out of here. Go celebrate,
Go
man.
have some fun. You guys earned it.
Be careful with that trophy. It's sharp. Oh, my goodness. Look at that. Well, this is going to be a crazy season. A few months to go until we get to Innsbruck, Austria for stop number 2. And these guys, they don't hate each other.
They're having fun. They're good friends. And that's the best. When they're having fun, everyone's getting along. Everyone loves seeing each other's runs. And Emil Johansen, the only guy capable of winning that Triple Crown. So we'll see if it's going to continue to be friendly competition.
Wow. Well, the season has only begun. There's so much more to come. And that was just a taste of what the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship Series has in store for you, our beloved viewers. I want to thank my co-commentator and little bro, Tyler McCall, for joining us and breaking down the action. Somebody's got to call all those ridiculous tricks from Emil Johansen. Thanks for pulling those tongue twisters. Most importantly, thank you for watching. We'll see you tonight for Pump Track.